So I was a math major.
Okay.
I was in the Philippines, but the thing about math, pure math, is I have my bachelor's in pure math. Came here to go to graduate school. I had pure math. I wasn't bothering about there were like during that time computer science is a new thing. I did not take any programming classes, even though my friends were doing that. I got here. I was only taking math classes, and then after my master's, I'm like, I don't have any skills, no skills. And actually, when I came, I was just thinking like, oh yeah, it's new to me. I mean, I didn't come from a family of very educated people. My parents were my mother, smartest person I know, but not very educated. She was very smart that when she was in third grade she was promoted to fourth grade.
Oh,
And then there was a war,
which
World War II.
okay, so we are going back that far.
Yeah.
I hear stories about World War II in the Philippines
Mm-hmm.
from my wife, from her mother and generation about like hiding, away from like the Japanese and stuff like that.
So they didn't go to school.
Yeah.
They didn't. So after the war, she had to go back to school as a fourth grader. So the promo, and
Wow.
and and then and then my grandparents. This is very sad for me because my mother is so smart, but her parents didn't let her go to school, even though she was very smart, because she's a girl.
I didn't understand a lot of these things when I
Yeah.
started going to the Philippines. My first time in the Philippines was 2005. I've been about 30 times. I lived there, all that stuff. And the way Filipinos and their family approach like the family farm and
Mhm.
school and everything, it was so interesting because I remember distinctly it was somewhere between 2012 and 16, I think, where they mandated 11th and 12th grade in the high school. And I was so confused because so many families were against it.
Mhm.
And they were like, no, we need them home. We need them working in the family business. We need them making money. And being an American, I'm like, what do you mean? And then that was the first time that I realized that Filipinos were graduating high school at 16
Mhm.
and going to
Yep.
college and graduating college at like 18 or
Yep.
20 or whatever, for however long they're there. And to me, that was like, I
Yep.
had no clue that the other side of the world or anywhere in the world
Yeah.
operated underneath those.
I was 17. I was actually old for my grade because my birthday's in January.
Mm,
So I'm always one year older than most of my classmates. So I started college as a 17-year-old.
that's incredible.
And
It's like Doogie Howser.
yeah, but I wasn't the youngest. Actually, one of my friends, I'm still I'm in touch with him. He For the last 30 or so years he's been a professor in Pasadena College. He's about to retire also. He started college at 15.
Wow.
Uh but this and so there's this thing in the Philippines that, yeah, that the change. It used to be, you finish sixth grade, then you go to high school, and then they changed that. And actually, interestingly, I'm trying to work with my friends in the Philippines in the education field. There are a lot of things that are going on. Number one, the 11th and 12th grade, it's a waste of time.
You think so?
Uh,
Or do you mean the
w-
way it currently
the way
is?
that it currently is.
Okay.
It's like they didn't really, they added years, but they did not add.
The curriculum.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then given that I'm in the assessment world, um the Philippines is about 40 years behind in educational assessment.
Yeah. Well,
And in any kind of assessment. So for example, the licensure and certification in the Philippines. So the licensure and certification in the Philippines is very norm referenced. So for example, oh, the PAP, if you take a board exam, let's say a generic board exam of something.
Sure.
Oh, if you're in the top 20%, you pass. You become an engineer or you become whatever you want to become. So if you fail, just take it again, just in case you're be in a less able cohort, then you pass. So that doesn't make you smarter, that doesn't make you more qualified. The reason that you are now a professional is because you took the test with a less able cohort.
Yeah.
Is that what you want? Like if for example, if you're a doctor or a lawyer and I'm a patient, I'm like, how many times did you have to take the board exam?
Yeah.
When did you take it?
Yeah.
Did you take it on the after the fall semester or after the spring semester? Because assessment is the results are very periodic, and so that's like norm reference testing. Which when I got to the field, first thing that they teach is, oh, there's norm reference testing and there's criterion reference testing. Criterion reference testing means that, okay, determine what you want them to have. What are the knowledge, skills, and abilities
Yep.
that you're expecting these people, that if they have that, they pass. If they don't have that, they don't pass. So if they pass, you know that you know their characteristics, you know their qualities, you know their capabilities. Other than, oh, they're in the top 20%.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that doesn't tell me anything. And actually that became my expertise, is this subfield called standard setting. And standard setting is basically this process of setting passing scores for tests. It's a very specific thing. You design the process. You including who are the right people
Mhm.
that you invite to set this cut score. Who are the decision makers and so forth. It's very specific. So if you actually search my name in the educational measurement literature, that's what will come up.
I see. I have a little bit of a background in this as well. I was a master instructor in the Air Force. I taught communications. I developed tests. I developed measurements for that. Instructional design. That's very difficult stuff.
Oh yeah.
Especially in the Philippines. I'm not trashing the Philippines when I get into this, but they are very different. Like Department of Education doesn't really exist in the Philippines. It does, but not in the same manner like what we expect here. Every school fends for itself. Every school is fundraising for, itself. There's no like federal funds that come down and support most of the schools, as far as I'm aware. So
that's actually changing.
Good.
They have they have two things right now, which I think, like, why do they have two? So there's the Educational Commission on its second version. So they have EdCom 2, and then they have the Department of Education. They've always had Department of Education. So for example, Cora's mother was at the Secretary of Education under Cory Aquino. Now they have hired a very popular former senator as the Secretary of Education, Angara. I forgot what his first name is, but I did meet him. He was the son of the former president of the University of the Philippines.
Wow.
So when we were in college, his dad was the president of the University of the Philippines. This is actually one thing that, when I went to the Philippines to me and my friends met with Secretary Angara, because I have this you didn't expect this.
No, but I love this.
Yeah. So I have my very best friend in the whole world, and her husband. So I have to go back because I have to tell you the backstory. This is the hard part about me. It's like I have to tell the backstory. I went to gifted science high school.
Okay.
So in the I don't know if you know about this. So there's this thing called the Philippine Science High School. During my time, you can take the first screening if you're at either you're a top 10 in your elementary school, I think, And then after you pass the first screening, then you take the second screening, and then they take about 200 students from all over the Philippines, bring them over to Quezon City.
Wow.
So
Okay.
here I was, 13 and a half, living away from my parents.
That has to be unbelievable pressure.
It is, and some kids, even if they pass, they don't go, and so forth. And then some kids, they just can't take being away from their parents. Anyway, so I went to this school. That's another.
That's okay.
There's actually a movie about this.
Really?
Yeah, Pisay, Pisay.
Okay.
It's a movie about kids who went to this school, and it tells you about different things about the school, the pressure that the students are up against. Like some are from very, very poor families, and we get stipends. So I've been getting money since I was 13 and a half
Wow.
to go to school. But some kids are so poor that whatever they get from school, they support their families. It's really hard.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and so look up the movie.
Yeah, I will.
I might have a copy. I might let you.
I may have a copy.
Yeah, it's a DVD. Anyway, so my best friend, so she married her high school sweetheart. This is a big story because she did come to graduate school in the
Aw.
U.S. To her mother's heartbreak. We still talk about it
Mm.
right now, with her mother. But so they have their corporate jobs. They were working as expats in Singapore.
Okay.
In multinational companies.
OFWs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we call them that or no?
Not them. I think I think they are technically considered OFWs,
Technically, but
but they're not
it's
the
different
labor
work.
force.
Yes.
They're more like oh, he's the vice president of Shell Asia or something.
Yeah,
like that.
that's why I wasn't sure if we call them OFWs because I assume it's more like white collar work
Yeah.
and not blue collar work.
Right.
So, but I don't. In the Philippines, everybody's kind of an OFW, but yeah, there is that
Right.
line.
And I think they got the award of being model OFWs at one point. But I also have a very good friend who lives in Boston. Her godmother, literally, the godmother,
Yeah.
Imelda Marcos.
Oh no.
We laugh
Well,
about it, but
have they been accepted back yet?
oh my God, yes,
I feel like
they're
have,
all
right?
in government. So Imelda, I think, is either a representative or a senator, but she is in government. Bongbong is, of course,
Yeah, the president.
president, and Amy is the senator from Ilocos.
Such an interesting.
I know.
It's so interesting that you can go from dictatorship and then your son becomes elected
Mhm.
president. I followed that election so close. I followed Duterte's really
Mhm.
close, and like I find that
Are you
landscape,
following the trial?
the impeachment,
Yeah. Oh no,
very
the
loosely.
trial in The Hague.
Oh yes, that one for sure. Duterte deserves it.
Oh,
He
absolutely.
deserves everything that he's gonna get. I lived in the Philippines 2017 and a little bit of 18,
Mhm.
and like I got to experience kind of like that whole thing. It was terrible.
My brother got on the list
Really.
for the extrajudicial killings.
I distinctly remember I was coming downstairs in the subdivision that we lived in Angeles, and my wife was playing TV Patrol, and they were covering a 17-year-old kid got shot the night before. So I guess some kids were hanging out like around maybe like Pure Gold or something like that, and I guess like two police officers came, and it was part of like the DDS,
Mhm.
like you got drugs, and they were like, what? No. And then like I guess one of the cops took the 17-year-old to like a dark corner where nobody could see him
Mhm.
and just shot him.
Yep.
And just said he had drugs on him, and that was it. I'm hoping, I don't know if they've picked up Bato,
No, I don't know.
but I hope so. I remember him being on TV all the time as the Philippine National Police chief, constantly just supporting this stuff, enabling this stuff. And for anybody that's never experienced like government violence
Mhm.
like that was scary.
Yeah.
That was very scary. Being in a situation like that. I mean, I still live my life and all,
I've
but
not experienced it firsthand because, like, the violence in the 70s when the activists are getting salvaged. I was a kid because I was in second grade
Yeah.
when martial law was declared through my elementary school and through high school. Martial law, under martial law, I was a senior in high school when martial law was lifted. But at that time, you can't. There's no change. Marcos was still there.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to say I was in EDSA in February 1986. I was there. We were part. I was part of a group where we were by the gates of Camp Crame, blocking the entrance so that the tanks cannot come out.
Wow.
This was after Tiananmen Square when we all see
Yeah.
the tank. So
Yeah.
we were there. We were there probably for a couple of nights before then the jubilation when the Marcos flew. So I was part of that. I was the People Revolution, which, by the way, is very, very helpful to me in the situation that we're here in right now. I've actually spoke about this in one of the, I think it's the first No Kings rally.
Yeah.
I spoke in Concord. So on the first rally, I think April 5th was the first rally. And I didn't know who was going and all of that. So I did drive to Concord. And in Concord, we have a parking garage.
Hmm.
And then you park there, and then you walk on that the commercial area, and then you come out, and then there's the street, and there's the house. And so there was a rally, and I came out, and you just feel the energy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, this is it. This will happen, because it reminded me of how it felt being in EDSA in February 1986.
That had to be really powerful.
Yes. So right now this thing, I knew it at the very, the first round was like April last year. Yeah, like we really have to do this. I was very encouraged, and I still carry that feeling that this is gonna happen. We just have to all be in it.
Yeah, I mean, I said this yesterday. We are so much more powerful when we are united.
Absolutely.
And right now we're really divided. And I'm somewhere mixed in there. Like, being an American, growing up here in New England, just experienced it. Like, I've never felt this divided from my neighbors, from my community. And I'm not trying to be like hyperbolic here, but like the way people have positioned themselves on like their own sports team is insane, because that's how we lose.
Yep.
But seeing the No Kings, seeing a lot of like the Merrimack ICE detention, all of those, they're not really protests; they're peaceful protests, and it's encouraging. It's encouraging to people like me. Like, I really hope we get through this.
I think so, and I think the peaceful protest, we really have to emphasize the peaceful. So we go to my car. I actually have two signs. Those are the only two signs that I take. I mean, love people who make handwritten signs and all the messages and all that. I love that, but I have two signs. One has a heart,
Yep.
and one has a peace sign.
Those are very, very good ones.
And you don't have to say anymore.
No, I think they stand on their own.
Yep. And so it works every time. And I actually got that made. This is the corrugated plastic, professionally printed and all that. I ordered it. And during the pandemic, and we already know that there are ICE prisoners in Stratford County Jail.
Yeah.
And there's some people organizing it. I think Debbie Levitt, Emmett Soldati, and Cora and Walter were there already, and we have the car rally. So because it's a pandemic, you can't really gather, you can't really visit. But have you heard about the car rally?
I not the car rally itself, but I mean, I clearly definitely remember COVID.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
what it's like here,
We gather by the courthouse, all the cars, and then when there are enough cars, probably 20 some odd cars, then we will drive by the jail and turn around to make sure that the windows that we think the ICE prisoners can see us, and then we have signs and so I have the peace sign and the heart sign, and then there's some handwritten signs, and you just things so you can wave hand signs, so
Yeah.
you can wave, and then we drive, and probably a few times, and so I had that made. Then so every week I will tape it on my truck, so they can see it.
Yeah.
So right now I still use them, because when the rally starts, like, where's that sign? So
And people will be able to pick you out of a crowd
yep,
and be like,
and
there she is.
right,
Yeah.
and so I do have pictures of it, like, oh yeah, peace sign, or one time I was Maggie Goodlander was speaking, and I was to speak after her, and so and I don't know if you have heard Maggie Goodlander speaks, like, it all comes to love, yeah, and so it's like I have my heart sign, like, right
Yeah,
there.
you fit right in. No, I have not met Maggie.
Oh, oh my God, I adore that woman.
I just never had any events that like overlapped with her. I've met Chris Pappas.
Mhm.
I worked on his campaigns a
So
little bit.
I didn't really know Maggie. I've heard of her, as a matter of fact, when Colin when Colin Van Ostern decided to run, like, okay, things were happening so fast, because I remember sitting in the chamber, like, Annie Custer decided she's gonna resign, and then Colin Van Ostern made an announcement that he's running. I'm right there, and then I made my $100 donation. I love Colin Van Ostern because of, see, I me as a voter
Yeah,
and as a political creature, I'm more on how this person makes me feel. I I of course, you have to figure out what the policies and all that. I'm much more
of
smarter
course, but
about
vibes up
politics.
front.
But yeah, because the first time I met him, uh this was during the time that Hillary was running for president, and I remember at the Washington building in Dover, the mill building,
Yep.
and during that time, I mean, I'm so naive. It's like, I don't know people and all of that, but I will. And Hillary was speaking, so I parked in the parking lot, and it was raining. I didn't even know which door to go to, and then the door opened with someone with the big umbrella to cover me, and said, "Hi, I'm Colin Van Ostern. I'm running for governor."
Wow, what an introduction.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I will never forget you.
Yeah, that's a powerful
Yeah.
introduction.
So now it's like, okay, I'm gonna support you, and so forth and so on. So every time his name comes up, I mean, he's been to my house. We've had events together, and all of that. And so for CD2, I was, of course, and then during that time, the state convention was in Dover, and I was the co-chair. Then if you're the co-chair, you're the host. You're the MC and all of that. And people were calling me PJ. I don't know if you know PJ Whitney, Dover Dams, and said, "Hey, I got a call from Betty Tamposi." It's like, who is that? Uh, oh, Maggie Goodlander's mother. Maggie Goodlander. Oh, she's running for Congress. Like, what? Who's that? Like, oh, they didn't know where they're supposed to go, and all of that, and I've never heard of them. And then, so, okay, now I know it's Maggie Goodlander running for Congress. She's from a political family in New Hampshire, because Betty Tamposi was a state senator who ran for Congress for that seat as a Republican, and she lost. I think she might have lost the primary, and the slogan of the other side is, "The woman's place is in the home, not in the house."
That's wild.
And so this story, you should look it up, because and then I met her, And from the time I met her, I'm like, oh my God. And this is before election. And then after the election, I don't know why, but whenever she had this ceremonial oath taking, and she's in CD2. I'm in CD1.
Yeah.
But I was invited. So I went. This is how I met Justice Souter. I actually got to elbow pump him.
I mean, if they're inviting you over to CD2, you're doing something good.
Yeah, and then now I actually I get to know her better, and then she knows me by name, and she's very nice to our caucus, the AAPI caucus, and now since she was elected, my God, the things that she has done. She's always in New Hampshire, and then they're taking it against her that she's married to Jake Sullivan, and
Jake Sullivan is
the
running.
Biden senior national security advisor.
I'm
That's
sorry.
Jake
I'm
Sullivan.
thinking about somebody else.
No,
Yeah.
that Jake Sullivan.
Oh,
The Jake Sullivan.
The
Like
Jake.
if you see him, like, oh, that guy. Yeah, and so I just adore that woman. That now seriously, I think I have a closer personal relationship with her than I do with Chris Pappas.
really?
Yes.
It's interesting because, I did get to meet a lot of people along the way. I haven't been in New Hampshire politics, for very long, so I haven't met everybody, but there are some really welcoming people, and we are pretty fortunate to have the people that we have.
Yep.
I can't even name them all, but like even Chris Pappas, I'll give you a quick story. I was going to go do some canvassing for him. We were canvassing Madbury, and I can't remember the retired senator's name over in Durham, but we met at her house to get all the packets
Katie
and
Wheeler?
everything. I think so. Yeah. She was so nice. Just everybody was wonderful. And I come up the driveway and nobody's there. And I'm like, oh my God, am I in the right spot? Cause it's just me. And there at the end of the driveway is Chris Pappas. I met him, I think 2 or 3 times prior to that. And as soon as I got within about 20 feet of him, he was like, hey, Adam, how are you? And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, my U.S. rep knows and remembers my name, but that is New Hampshire. That's kind of what it is here.
Yeah.
I love it.
And this like I remember being in a meeting, like Maggie Goodlander gathered, asked. It was a very quick invite, so not a lot of people came. Probably maybe a dozen representatives came, mainly from CD2, and you sort of because I have to say, as a representative, the people who work in the state government, the staff are very, very conscientious about addressing you as representative. They are.
Yes.
And so like, oh, I should do that to our representatives and all that. And I remember we were in this table, and when they got to me, Maggie said, "Hi, Luz." I said, "Hi, Maggie." Which is like, and like, oh my God, these people, the more senior people from my caucus are like probably looking at me.
What are you doing?
Addressing Representative Goodlander as Maggie. And another funny thing is, last year I was invited to an AAPI gala in Washington D.C. And so I was like, oh yeah, and like they're giving me a nice ticket to a nice gala. And so I said, I have some time, so maybe I'll meet with Maggie. And so I arranged it with her staff. And remember, I didn't go visit my congressman, but visiting the congresswoman. And then so there's this back and forth because they have to adjust their schedule and so forth and so on. And then later on, it's like, what legislative priorities did you want to talk with the congresswoman? It's like, I just want to chat with her. And then so I don't know if I even responded to that email. And then when I got to her office, and so, hi Luz, and all that, so we hugged and all of that. And then so we sat down, and here's a staffer came in to take notes, and they were like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, "Oh yeah," it's like, "Oh yeah, I was talking to Kelly Ayotte, and I was like, we were literally just chatting." And so I don't know what's in the notes.
It is fascinating, and I love hearing the story. I'm going to share a little bit of an embarrassing story.
Okay.
Chris Pappas's team called me in 24 in the summer. They found out that I was a disabled veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't tell them that. I didn't apply for it, but somebody had told them. Anyway, so they call me up and they're like, "Hey, would you be willing to shoot a video, for the VA stuff and all that stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would do that. As a disabled veteran, I advocate for that stuff. I want to be a part of that. I want, all that." Anyway, I have no idea how to interact with a U.S. congressman or anything else. So I show up in Manchester. They get me all like makeup, they get the script done, fix me up and all that. Chris Pappas shows up and I'm like, oh my God, okay, so what am I supposed to do? This is my first interaction with anybody like this. So we're shooting throughout the day, and then they're like, all right, you and Chris are going to sit on the porch on the steps, and you're going to look like you're talking and all that. So I sit down, and I'm so nervous. Like, I can feel my throat's dry, and I'm just like, I don't know why I'm here. And he looks at me, he says, "Hey, Adam, how you doing?" And I'm like, okay, this guy's being really nice to me. So I'm like, "Hey, how are you, Representative?" And then he's, I looked at him and I didn't know what to say. And I was like, "Hey, what school did you go to?" And then he looks at me, he's like, "Harvard." And I just felt my whole inside just kind of like die. And he's like, "It's okay. Just relax." And I just looked at him like a deer in headlights. And I was like, I don't know what to say to a U.S. representative. And he just looked at me because he's probably gotten this 1,000 times. Yeah. And he was just like, "How are you?
Yeah.
Where are you from? How's your family?" And he took down all those barriers for me.
Right.
And then it was just such a great time.
And see, here's the thing, when we see these people on TV and
right
and all of that, and I can tell you, the first time I've met Senator Hassan. And I've seen her on TV and all of that, and it's like, okay, yeah. and then this was 16 years ago, and Apple Harvest Day.
Okay.
And they walk around, right? And somebody that I know said, "Hey, come on, Maggie Hassan's here," and so I went. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to interact with these people, but I have my 6-year-old, and I said, "Oh yeah, this Maggie Hassan. She's running for governor," and my daughter, in a very, very cute way, "What's a governor?" I was still laugh about this, and I've recounted this to Maggie Hassan several times since then, but the way that she spoke to my daughter explain something that's very fundamental about what the government is, how it runs, what it does for the people, and so forth. Like the concept of government explained to a 6-year-old in such a respectful way.
Yep.
Like, I'm gonna vote for this woman forever. Whatever, like seriously, she was running for governor at that time. And so to me, I've always said, I've shared this with people. As a voter, I am not an issue voter. I really am not. I think maybe part of that speaks to my privilege, that probably other than I use the roads that the government build.
Yeah.
I don't think that I've actually taken advantage of other government programs. I love the government programs that's there for the people who need it.
Yes, absolutely.
And I have not. So maybe, so I don't know. And so any specific program, like, hey, the concept of universal healthcare, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's a human right. That's a basic human right. But I've also, since I came to this country and I've had my corporate jobs, I've also always had this Cadillac of health insurance,
right?
Where I get what I need, and so for me, okay, I love that those programs are available to the people because it's basic human rights. But then as a voter myself, I can't say, oh, because this candidate is supporting this program and very vocal about this policies and all of that. I can't like point that. So the way that I pick my candidates, and now being on this side of the political spectrum myself, the way that I pick the people that I support is I think about, okay, the decisions, the votes, the issues that this candidate is going to deal with when they get elected. A lot of unknowns. A lot of unknowns. Who would have known that that politicians will have to deal with pandemic issues? No one.
Right. You don't prepare for
Now,
that.
when they get elected, no one knows.
Right.
Right. So you don't know what all the other issues that they're gonna have to deal with. But I want to feel that this person will make the best decision based on information available to them, and will make a decision that's best for the constituents, for humankind itself. And it might not be good for me personally. It might not be good for my tribe, but I will trust that this person will make the best decision for the most people. And that's the person that I will support.
Right. That's an interesting take, because I don't think anybody's ever shared with me how they pick somebody to vote for. When I vote for somebody, and I print out all the ballots and I fill in all the bubbles to what I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then I make my pitch to my family saying, this is why we're voting this way. This is why we're voting for who.
Mm-hmm.
I always look at their policy statement, obviously the way they carry themselves, the way they present solutions to problems, and hopefully not problems to solutions. But it's an interesting thing, because you only get, in some cases, a brief interaction with somebody, and that can be hard to feel, like whether they're good or not. Like, we have a lot going on just for CD1. Chris Pappas is going for Senate, so we have 7. It's either 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of people, and they're all good people.
It was 13 in 2018.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I had just gotten here in 2018.
I was program chair for the Dover Dam, so I was in charge of scheduling them for the farms. We did them 2 at a time. It was hard.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. I mean, we do have a lot of good people to run here in New Hampshire, and I've met so many. It's hard to find. This is Inky. He makes an appearance in every every shot. So, but yeah, it's interesting to hear how somebody else kind of
because
picks.
We don't know. Like even for me, okay, when you run, they tell you to have palm cards, and then you have to say what your priorities are, and just put 3.
Right.
Okay. And then you put your 3 that's best represents you. And then when mine has always been quality education, voting rights, and bodily autonomy. However you phrase each one of these, because there are a lot of ways to phrase them. But one thing that I found out, and during my first campaign, I was still running a lot of marathons then, and I will do a virtual marathon while going door to door. Did a couple of those, and then you meet people, like in downtown, closer to downtown Dover, and then when they're outside there, then I'll stop and I talk and all of that, and the main issue in their minds is housing insecurity. Okay, and then now, for example, right now in immigration. Okay, I just happen to have some lived experience as an immigrant, but they're not the things that I was thinking of when I ran. I did think about representation, like, okay, it's probably good to have someone of the Asian persuasion in the house, or in any gathering, because it's important that you different views are represented. But I never thought of of this immigration policies, the way that immigrants are treated, the way that immigrants are getting disenfranchised uh, in election laws, both both as voters and as candidates.
Yeah.
I mean, the bills that we have to deal with in election law is really, it's not just voter suppression, it's candidate suppression. I didn't know I was gonna have to deal with that when I ran in 2022.
Nobody ever does.
The what pushed me over the edge was the Dobbs decision.
Right.
So, but now that I have to deal with it, it's foremost in my mind, and I have to deal with bills, and analyze some of the Republican bills, and prepare my questions, and put committee reports, and so forth on these things that are not in my platform.
It is fascinating because we have so many bad bills, but we do have so many good bills as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the bad bills always get the
Oh my
attention.
God.
And you're right. Being in the state, there's not a huge amount of like Asians or other minority groups. But when you're running, people probably do give you a lot of like, if I showed up at the door and then you showed up at the door after me or before me, I bet you the person that answers that door has two very different thoughts going through, right? It could be good or bad. I'm not
Well,
saying either way, but I, immigration is so important to our country. Last night, I told you earlier before we started that last night I had the pleasure of having a 2-hour conversation with a retired law enforcement. And he said, well, immigration is fine as long as they do it the legal way. And then I realized at that point, as soon as he said that statement, I said, what you just said is wrong. I said, you're not wrong. I said, but the sentiment is wrong. And we have been fed this plate of garbage.
Mm-hmm.
1960s, immigration changed in this country. We went from basically open borders to now here's a process.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an expensive process. Here's how we keep people out. I went through the same process you probably went through with my family, and it takes thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. It takes traveling back and forth to wherever that location is. In my case, Philippines. There's a lot of effort that goes into vetting somebody to come over and go through that process. I just think so many people have no idea how difficult it is. And then the last term, immigration has gotten even harder. So not only do we have ICE on the streets, but we have an administration that doesn't want anybody coming to this country unless you're white. We saw it with South Africa.
Yeah, I know.
But it's insane. So locally here in New Hampshire, though, you must be up against so much more than some other areas in the United States because we are so white. New Hampshire, if I'm not mistaken, is like 95 or 96% white.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean like, I'm not saying everybody's racist or anything here. I'm just saying when you are in kind of like a mono culture,
Mm-hmm.
it's very different. I got to live in Korea. I've got to live in countries where they have a monoculture.
Mm-hmm.
It is very different than being in the U.S. where it's a melting pot.
Well, one of the things though that you know sometimes I feel like there are significant, very profound part of the immigrant experience that I didn't experience, and puts me. I feel like sometimes am I doing a great job representing the immigrant population because I have a slightly different experience than them? The sentiment's nice because I just said, as long as I do my job as a good person,
Yep.
I'm fine. But for example, you said, and I've heard this thing like, oh, it took a lot of money to get all your paperwork done, and you have to hire a lawyer and all of that.
Yeah.
I've heard all of that. That's not my experience. I did all the paperwork myself.
Yep.
And it it went through. But
Did you come over?
as a student,
Okay. I just want to make sure because I can definitely see the difference for anybody that doesn't know. A K3 visa, which is a fiance visa, and then the marriage visa, K1, I believe, is a very different
right?
process than coming over
But
as.
one of the things that happened also, like in my most recent corporate position, I hired someone, and that we have to support. And so when we hired her, uh she said, oh, she doesn't need, my company was saying, we're not supporting H1 visas. Okay, she came here as a graduate student. Oh, she's not gonna need H1 visa because she's marrying another immigrant. She's Chinese, he's Indian, like whole other story.
Sure.
But he's already working for a technology company. His his green card application is already there. So and she's the spouse, so she'll be covered. And then all of this immigration things happen. That's like, oh my God, India and China. There's so many people here. Then it's hard. It's like, is India gonna be supporting, or is it China that's harder to get? And then at the end, uh, that she's not gonna get a visa or green card through her spouse. Then my company had to support her, and then, oh, now it's gonna cost tens of thousands of dollars for the company to hire a lawyer, a law firm, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
My company didn't have to do that for me either. I really did these things on my own. My green card, my thing, nothing. And maybe I'm just fortunate that way, but didn't have to talk to
Well,
never had to talk to an immigration lawyer.
you probably did it. I believe you did do it before 9/11.
Yes.
And
Okay.
9/11 was huge.
Here's my 9/11 story.
Please.
So I've been in this country. I've been in this country for a while.
Yep.
Had my green card. Was married. Had a 9-month-old. Went to the Philippines for my sister's wedding. We're supposed to come back on the 12th.
Oh no.
Here I was with a 9-month-old. We had different passports. I had a
That's a
Philippine
nightmare.
passport. I had an American passport. You know what was going in my mind? Japanese internment.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
That, at that time, it's like any flight terminating in the U.S. are grounded. And so, and during that time, there were no cell phones. And so every day we will show up at the airport and see if, and you've been in the airport in the Philippines, it's the nightmare.
Oh, it is.
And so we will show up at the airport every day in the middle of the night because, the flights go really early in the morning. And it's like, I can easily see, it's like, oh, you Philippine passport here, just passport here, and then like, where's my child now?
Yep.
That scared the bejesus out of me.
That whole time was very scary. I mean, everybody's experience is
So
wildly different, but
first thing I did,
yeah,
as soon as we got back,
fix your passport.
applied for my naturalization. Because before it's like, oh yeah, green card. It's like, so applied for my naturalization. Soon as I got my did my naturalization, I got a passport. Well, as soon as I got my passport, I went to the city hall in Dover and registered as a Democrat. my husband came with me and registered as a Republican.
Really? Wow. Wow.
But he changed his registration right before the 2016 election. Like, there's no way that a man with a teenage daughter will support the Republicans.
That would be a huge. That one would be a big one for me. Like I'd be like, we can't hang out if my partner voted in such a way.
Yep.
I. It's funny because when my wife and my son came to the U.S., it was the same thing. He had his U.S. passport, but she had her Filipino passport, and we did the same thing. My biggest concern was I want my spouse to be my equal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really hard if we're not both citizens, right? And so I raced as well. Like as she got here, and then obviously it's a time process. You can't speed that up. But as soon as she was able to, we did it.
Yep.
We did it as fast as
Absolutely.
we could, and she's been a citizen for we're almost 2 decades in now at this point, and it was the right move because you never know what the future is,
Absolutely.
right? You never know when some tragedy is going to hit and change life as we know it. We've seen it with COVID, we've seen it with 9/11, we've seen it with so many things. But
And so there was this bill. We defeated it in committee, where if you are that if you're running for office, you have to make a disclosure whether you have dual citizenship, whether and then you have to sign a paperwork that says no you don't, or you're not aware of anything, under penalty and perjury. And it's like, and then of course, there's there could be felon charges if you didn't disclose. And it's like, now to your awareness, you have to declare that, to my awareness, there's no other country that might claim me as citizen. Who knows all the rules in other countries? Now, Spain is saying that if you're Filipino, you can be a citizen of Spain, in the same way that, in America, if your grandparents are Irish, you can be an Irish citizen and have an European Union passport. You don't know when that changes. I have since looked that, no, I'm not qualified to. No, I am still qualified to get my dual citizenship.
Yep.
But so what? I didn't claim it, and I'm not. So I know that I'm not. I even checked that, my son, when my son was born, I was of course still a Filipino citizen. So by laws of the U.S. and by laws in the Philippines, he's a dual citizen.
Yep.
But then you have to claim it, and like, it says. But now I looked up the rules, like, you have to claim it within so many months after your 18th birthday. My kid is 25 now. So it's like, okay, you're not qualified to claim
Really?
Filipinos. I just read it recently.
Oh, I believe you. I just, that's changed. It used to be so easy. You just I would just call up the embassy, and it was like $25 and a piece of paper, and you sign it, and they give you the oath, and then you get your So
for him, because his claim the Filipino citizenship would be, his mother was a Filipino citizen. He can't claim it anymore.
Was he born there?
No, he was born here.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. My son actually has a birth certificate from over there.
So he was born here, and then, so for me, I can still claim Filipino citizenship.
Okay.
Not that I would. A lot of Filipinos in the U.S. claimed their dual citizenship to vote for Leni Robredo.
Oh, that she's very popular.
I know.
You think she's gonna run again? Has she? I don't think she's announced it.
No, she hasn't. She's being very happy being mayor.
Yeah, she's mayor of
Naga
Naga.
City.
Yeah. I do follow a little bit,
Yeah.
but not like completely.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever retire in the Philippines. I don't think I want to go back and live
There is a
there.
retirement visa. I found this out from Ambassador
Yeah, the
Chantal Wong.
the SRRV in the Philippines. Um, cr- I I think other countries probably have it, but Thailand, South Korea, the Philippines have basically the same
Mm.
retirement visa. So, for anybody that doesn't know, if when you turn 50 and you have to have either X amount of money per month in a pension or X amount of money in your bank account, and then assuming that you're a good person and you qualify,
Mhm.
you can get a retirement visa, which just means you can come and go
Right.
as you want. One downside in the Philippines, though, is if you do have your ACIR, your alien card, your green
Mm.
card, you have to pay every time you leave the Philippines. It's about like 60 to 80 bucks, and it's just you're just paying them so you can leave.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no process. There's nothing you can do. I remember having to do it when I left, and I was like, seriously, you guys are just gonna take 60 bucks off of me at the airport
Yeah.
for nothing?
Right.
And that's just the way they do it. So the Philippines is a little bit tougher to get the retirement visa, I think, because of some of the restrictions they put as far as traveling goes. I'm lucky enough, and I have my 13A
Yeah.
over there, so I do
I
have
don't know what that means.
permanent residency. So I have my green card in another country.
Now you have to disclose.
I do. I disclose it, but I can't get my citizenship because of there's so many things
Right.
that you lose when you get
And
that.
why would you?
The only reason why you would do it, as far as I'm aware, is if you wanted to buy land in the Philippines and you wanted to vote. That's it.
Well, this is something that my husband and we agree so much on this. My parents have properties, and from the time that my father died first, and then my mother just decided, nope, I'm not taking part in any of that. So whatever paperwork you had, pretend I don't exist. No, seriously, pretend.
No, I'm with you. I only giggle because I understand that process a little bit, and we're going through the same thing. We're losing family members. Now we're getting older,
Mhm.
and properties are switching. And on one hand, my wife would like to have that property, but for me, I don't want to maintain another home in another country. That means I have to travel there. I have to like make sure it's good. Why would you want to take that burden on? Like, I have property here. I don't need
Yeah.
more property. And so I'm with you, and I see that. Like,
We even like, okay, so for us, we have our house that's paid for. We have a car that's paid for. We don't want any more. My father-in-law just passed away.
I'm sorry to hear that.
My mother-in-law passed away a while back. My husband has one sister, and basically it's like, nope, keep everything. Pay whatever is it, but it looks like there's probably still gonna be several $100,000 left after everything is paid off. And my husband like, take everything. You need it. Get your life together. We don't need anything. Our children don't need anything. Please.
I feel the
Take it.
same. I feel the same. I don't need it. I I'm older, and I don't need as much stuff as I used to. When I was in my 30s, my 20s, I could go shopping, I could go buy a bunch of stuff, but I don't feel like I need anything. And that applies to when people pass away in the Philippines. I would rather the other part of the family take that.
Yep.
They need it. They could use it so much more. Like, why should I have control of a house somewhere else? Those people need to live
Yeah.
there. So I'm with you, and that's a hard decision, especially for Americans that are married with somebody else from another country. Where do you retire?
Yep.
Where do you put down your anchors? And I'm glad I got the experience living in the Philippines. I don't want to go back and live because I'm afraid I'll die there in an ambulance, stuck in traffic, a mile away from the hospital, because we can't go anywhere.
I'm afraid to go to the hospital there. Well, like one time I had very bad food poisoning and I won't go to the hospital.
Well, it's an interesting. I've gone to the Philippine hospital quite a bit, But some of the best experiences, or I wouldn't say best, some of the oddest experiences maybe was like I went there and I had some stomach issues. I was visiting my wife and I had to go over to the local hospital. And so the doctor comes out of the side room. He sees me. He's like, "Yeah, I'll give you some medication." And he's like, "That's 500 pesos." I was like, oh, and I took out the
Yeah,
money. I gave him
yeah,
500 pesos. For anybody, that's $10.
right.
And I had to pay cash to
Yeah.
the doc directly. It wasn't like a billing
Mhm.
desk or anything like that. It was just, he was like, "Great, I
Yeah.
solved you, and it's $10."
Yeah. And see, to me, if I ever have to go to a hospital in the Philippines, I'm like, oh, take me to this hospital because the administrator of this hospital I went to high school with, and he'll take care of me. And seriously, like,
Knowing people
yeah,
there is big.
and when my sister was diagnosed with cancer, and I'm like, okay, doctors here, doctors there. I made calls so that you get the best service, and that okay, we have the St. Luke's Hospital is really top notch, and
Yep, I've
we
been
we,
there.
we, we know people, the doctors. We can get, but even with that, you still get in freaking line, and that okay, your appointment is this, and you show up, and it still take hours before they see you,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, this, I think some of the things that Americans complain about is really relative. Like, oh, you have an appointment. Let's say your appointment is at 2 o'clock. Oh, they say at 2:30. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
right?
When are they coming to
Yeah,
get me?
in the Philippines, it's like you're there all day. It's like, oh, your appointment is at 8 a.m. They don't see you until 4, but and you're waiting there the whole time, and so everything is relative. And one of the things that I think is relative is whenever people in politics said, oh, that's nepotism, that's dynasty, that's blah 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 blah. I think it's the mentality that only I can do it, only I can do a good job.
Yeah. I always feel like Filipinos like stardom.
Oh God,
And
yes.
that's how like Manny Pacquiao became
Senator.
a congressman, and because he's wildly famous and
the
popular, and
the governor of Batangas, she was my favorite actress when I was in the Philippines.
and we do it here too.
Yeah.
I don't want to let any Americans off the hook. We as a country voted for Ronald Reagan, which was a movie star.
But he was a B actor.
I know, but it's the name recognition. It's the Hollywood. I don't know.
Okay. To his credit,
I was
he was a union leader.
I know, and I.
Yes.
But as America as a
Yeah.
whole, we like famous people as well. I mean, we vote for them. We do. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Name recognition.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I mean, and this is how when I was campaigning for Nancy Water and I, we were going door to door. I believe it's in 2022. And we're in Dover. It's pretty blue.
Yeah.
And
it's, like,
so
really blue.
we're like, okay, yeah, we're voting for this, blah 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 blah. And it's like, oh no, I know, we're voting for Sununu. We're voting for so they're gonna vote for all the dams, but they're voting for Sununu
Oof.
for name recognition. Tom Sherman was not well known. But they're not even gonna bother. Who's Tom Sherman? That okay? He's a senator. He's a retired doctor, and so forth and so on. They're not gonna bother to figure out who he was or what he represents. They're just voting for Sununu because that's a known
It's
entity.
a comfort. It's a name. It's a comfort. I took great pride in voting against Sununu every single
Yep.
time. I don't think he was a good governor for New Hampshire, and everybody has their own.
To his credit, he never buddied up with the Free Staters.
I agree, and I'm thankful for that. But it was everything else that he did that, like, even during COVID, like, he just did not know where to be.
Yeah.
He didn't know to be in the center and just kind of let it go, or should he do anything or should he not? People just got comfortable with
Yeah.
Sununu, and
Oh, he's a nice guy.
yeah, like, oh, you're gonna love Chris. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
No, I'm voting against him.
Yep. 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 And
But we didn't have. I say we as Democrats underneath big umbrella. We didn't have like killer Democratic people up for the governorship.
a lot of people were very hopeful that Declan McEachern will run, and he's not.
Yeah, no, he's the mayor
Mayor of Portsmouth.
of Portsmouth.
Oh, he okay. So I met him the first time, and he was running for Congress. That eventually Chris Pappas.
Mhm.
That was Chris Pappas's term, and he showed up in Dover with his dad.
Oh no! With his
Oh,
dad,
and his
no.
dad his dad was all they've been their family has been in politics in
Yeah.
New Hampshire. I didn't know them because I didn't know much. But it's like this guy is movie star, good looking, running for Congress, very personable, very nice, and he came with his dad, and
I
it's
know.
so sweet. And
Like, take my vote. What are you doing
I
here?
know, and but then again, so this is really my first venture into New Hampshire politics was in 2018. Like again, 13 candidates. That includes Levi Sanders,
Mm-hmm.
who's not even from CD1, he's from CD2. But that's the rule in New Hampshire is you can run in the other district. So it was Chris Pappas and Morris Sullivan got 72% of the primary votes. Um, Me and Peter Bixby during the primary, he's holding Chris Pappas's sign, and I'm holding. So then I have to go to the bathroom, and then I'll ask I'll ask Peter Bixby to hold the sign, and all of that. So yeah, I remember meeting him for the first time. Uh, Dover Dam's Christmas party in 2017, and he brought chicken tenders from his restaurant. And I don't like chicken breasts, just period. I don't like chicken breasts. But my God, the chicken tenders from the Puritan back room. It's like religion.
He catered the day that I
Mhm.
told you about earlier where we did the video, and they were like lunch break, and I was like, "Ah, I'm not really that hungry," but I went out there and I saw they had chicken tenders, and so I had some, and I was like, wait a minute, is this from your restaurant? And he was like, oh yeah, I had him cater it. It was, I was impressed. And
It was very good.
yeah, some people are either I hate these tenders or I love these tenders because I think they fry them in coconut oil, and that is to some people probably
Yeah.
heresy, but I like them. And Chris is very personal. When you
Yes.
meet him, like he carries himself pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have so many great candidates. Like it's so hard to choose between some of them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you got to choose somebody.
Yeah. And I actually I'm always, I choose early, and I always, to the extent that it's important to people,
Yeah.
I make public endorsement. I don't know, I don't know why, but I don't know why people want my endorsement.
I
But
would say that you're fairly popular.
I heard,
I think you are.
I heard.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone yesterday, and like, oh, and I said, oh, I'm so honored that they regard me that way.
I mean, it is nice, right?
Yeah, it is nice, but yeah, I always make, I make public. I choose early, and I provide support to the extent that I can. It's, and you find out about a lot of things. The first time that I got into this, look at this, funny, Star Power.
Yeah.
So, 2008, I think, 2008 July, and so my husband we have side by side studies. And this was about dinner time. And my husband, this is, we still have landlines. My husband, and I heard him talking to someone. So I thought it was like telemarketer because that was the time that telemarketers call. And then it's like, hey, could you come over? So I went to study. And then the person and then said, hey, whatever you told me, would you say to my wife exactly what you told me? Picked up the phone and said, oh, we're having an event with Carol King tomorrow morning at the cafe on the corner. Carol King? She's my absolute favorite, of course, wherever it is. Now, it was funny, that event, though, and why they called my husband. Remember, I told my husband's a Republican.
Yeah.
This is Jean Shaheen's campaign.
Wow.
Calling Republicans.
And they try to get, yeah.
Yeah. And so, he's not interested in going there. Carol King. And then I'm so uncomfortable. And I said, okay, you have to come with me and all that. So he drove me to the cafe on the corner, and there was Carol King. And I have a really good picture taken by the Foster's photographer.
Oh.
They did not use it for the article because I was already in the paper the previous week, and that's my picture. Anyway, but they sent it to me. But so there was Carol King, very articulate, passionate about education, and I was literally sitting with her, we were sitting in a love seat, and we're both ends, and I was just in awe, and I was tongue tied, and I'm in the field of education. And
I still get tongue tied when I meet people.
And then I brought my tapestry songbook.
Oh.
And I had her sign it, and it's like, oh my God, this is not enough. And I happened to I was supposed to go back to work afterwards, and I had my laptop, and it's one of the silver laptop, not the black one, the silver. And people have Sharpies. I had her sign my laptop.
Really?
Yep. And then there's Senator Shaheen. Of course, she's the candidate.
Everybody's signing your laptop.
I have this laptop, by the way, also has Hillary Clinton's autograph.
My God.
Yeah. So
this laptop has been around more than 100
eBay, and it can help my campaign.
Right.
If I run for higher office, and I need more money, I'll put it on eBay and auction it. Or auction it in an event.
That's an interesting piece.
Yeah. And so anyway, so that's how I got into it. And then how when you go to a political event, they always have this card, and then you have to like what you can do.
Yep.
And I can't go door to door. I can't go I can have a house party. I can do that. I have a nice house. I know caterers. I can do that. So I did. I volunteered to have a house party. But one thing that I did not know is if you have a house party, I thought that I'm just hosting, and then the campaign will take care of inviting people.
Nope.
Oh my God, my spread is really good, and so they did a good job, and because they know it's not going to be a lot of people, Senator Shaheen. Instead of Senator Shaheen, it's Bill Shaheen who came, and that's how I got to know him. So to this day, I'm actually much closer to Bill than the senator. I mean, the senator knows me by name now. It's like, how many times have I interacted with him?
Yeah.
But it's really Billy who will actually responded to every phone call, every text, every email that I have ever sent him over the years.
Wow.
Like seriously. And if you think, okay, maybe royalty is not the most endearing term to use, they are New Hampshire royalty, and they're the big names in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
But the things that I've asked him were not political. For example, one time I was on the board of St. Mary Academy. in Dover, and I'm like, okay, let's have a fundraiser, but we have to have a headliner for a fundraiser. And I ran into him in the mall, and it's like, hey, this is the second time that I'm eye to eye with this person. He remembers me. He's like, hey, could you do this for me? Because he actually graduated from St. Mary Academy a gajillion years ago, and if you can, so he did. And I remember that time when he said, oh yeah, I'm here, even though my wife is having a party for 50 people in my house, but somebody told me that you have to do what Luz Bay tells you. And so we have that relationship, and I've had issues. For example, one time I was the treasurer of Psychometric Society. It's an international organization. We give stipends to people, and it so happened that there are two people in New Hampshire that we give stipends to, myself and another person. And because we pay taxes, so we have records of this. Oh my God, we didn't pay some kind of workers insurance.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But our secretary's office is in North Carolina in the university, so they're sending it there, but I'm doing the books. I'm not getting it. So now we've lapsed and all that, and now we're being fined $17,000.
Wow.
Because we didn't pay for workman's comp.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do? Called his office, and it's like, and he doesn't just, he's a big mucky mug in his office, of course, he's the owner. When I call him, and this is probably what he does to everyone, I don't think I'm special, I think this is what he does for everyone, is he doesn't just pass on like, oh, you little lawyer, call Luz Bay, I know her, she needs help, blah, blah, blah. No, he will call you and tells you, okay, you're going to get a call from this lawyer. He's going to take care of whatever it is that you need taken care of.
Wow, it's rare to get that kind of service.
And even for little things, like I have a friend who's like, oh yeah, I have this issue. It has something to do with the common law rules, because I've been living with my partner, but I want to make sure that all of that, that he's not, if it is considered common law spouse, that everything still goes to my kid and not him, and things like that.
Yep.
I'm like, okay. So I texted Bill, and it's like, okay. She texted me, okay, tell her to call this person, make an appointment, call this specific person, and so forth. And so, something like, this guy has a gajillion other things going on, but to get that kind of attention,
yeah, and personalized,
yeah,
attention.
and as a brown person in New Hampshire, when a lot of like, okay, I belly up to a bar asking for a drink, and somehow they're seeing like like I don't exist, yeah. And so this big mucky muck person actually sees me.
Isn't that nice?
And that is nice. And so to me, is my relationship with Bill part of the reason why I'm supporting Stephanie Shaheen? Absolutely. I mean, anyone who is raised by a person like that is a good person. But can I tell this story on the biggest thing that Bill Shaheen did for me? So, remember when Hillary and Bernie were the only two people running in the primary?
Yes, I do.
And then there were no debates. Oh my God, there were no debates. And people were like, and then suddenly 4 days before the debate said, there's going to be a debate. And it's going to be in New Hampshire. That's a very short time. And like Rachel Maddow is going to be moderating and all of that. Like, I have to get into that. and so I contacted Bill Shaheen. I literally contacted Bill Shaheen, and again, this is short. It was announced, and then it has to happen 4 days later, and on the day of, so he responded to my email saying, "Yeah, I got your email, blah 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 blah." But hang on, I'll get back to you. On the day of, he said, "Go to this place, and then tell them your name, and then you have to come back, get the ticket, and there's like you have to do one of these. No, I don't know, but go to this place, blah blah blah. So I just followed to that place, and then you have to go back in the evening to go to the actual event. Okay, so we get the ticket. Me and my son. My son was probably a freshman in high school supporting Bernie. We were interviewed by the Young Turks because I was supporting Hillary. My son's supporting Bernie. I think that this video is still on YouTube. And so we were in line, right? Got in. Okay. I kid you not. Here's my seat.
Yep.
Here's my son. Here's Howard Dean, and here's Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
What a lineup. What a lineup.
We were sitting with them.
Yeah.
And I was sitting, looking at Rachel Maddow's back the whole damn time.
That had to be so surreal to just be sitting there.
Yeah. And then, yeah, and it's like, and then I ran into going to the bathroom, chatted with Howard Dean, and saying, "Oh yeah, I'm thinking of getting a new phone." So I was talking to him about my new iPhone and all that, and literally, my son was in ninth grade sitting beside Howard Dean.
What?
And Debbie Wasserman Schultz was the chair of the DNC
Yes.
at that time.
Yes. For anybody that doesn't remember, Howard Dean just.
Yeah.
I still make that joke.
The Dean scream.
Yeah, people don't get the reference anymore.
And yeah, oh my God.
Too much time.
It's actually frustrating for me sometimes when, when people comment about my shoes and all of that. It's like, hey, I'm from the Philippines. Ha ha ha. I have to explain it even to the most politically astute college student. They don't know.
Yeah.
They've forgotten. I mean, they're not into that anymore. It's you have to be a person of a certain age to get the reference.
I know that's the hardest thing of getting older is you gotta be funny in a different way.
Yeah.
to connect with people these days.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What an interesting group of people to sit next to. I don't even
Right?
know how I'd feel.
I wasn't even really into things. And this is to me my I think the trajectory of my political career. Like, okay, once I became a citizen, I was voting.
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit, I was voting in national and state election. I was even voting in city elections.
Yep.
I didn't know who again. I'm saying it speaks to my privilege. What city program am I really taking advantage? I feel I'm affected with, like, oh yeah, you pay higher or lower taxes depending on who you vote for. Okay, I'm happy to pay taxes. And my husband and I was like, you know what? We pay a lot of taxes because we make good money. We should be happy.
Yeah, I wish
that's
more
how-
people felt that way.
That's how we view taxes.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I feel like if I'm paying taxes, that means I'm doing pretty well.
Right. And
So-
so that's the thing. So okay, you're voting, right? And then okay, the way that things, I just feel like over the years, but whatever I'm doing, it's not enough. So okay, now when there's national election, okay, I volunteered for Jean Shaheen's campaign, and then I was making phone calls for Hillary. This is this was a time when to do phone banking, you actually have to show up at the place.
Yes,
And I will take my children. They're making phone calls.
that's an experience.
I remember, okay, I took my kid from elementary school to make phone calls, even though she had an accident and she's wearing a moon boot. And so we have a picture of Bill Clinton signing her moon boot. I dragged my children to these things, and then, but like, okay, I will draw the line on going door to door.
You don't canvas
That time.
that time.
And then, like, holy crap, it looks like Obama could lose to Romney. I get
Oh.
really scared. So I will do what I can. I went door to door. And see, to me, this is the thing. It's never enough.
No.
And so that's why I am where I am. It's never enough. Like, okay, now I have to run for office. Now I have no. You know why I ran for office when the Dobbs decision
Yep.
came out. And the Supreme Court said this human rights issues need to be taken care of at the state level. Alrighty then.
Well, we gotta get to work then. Yes.
That's where I'm going.
I'm curious because you've mentioned several times that you bring your kids along the way. Have they become political?
No.
Mine either.
They
will vote, and they will vote every single time, but they don't want to do anything political with me.
It's okay. So my daughter is different, and she lives out of state, and it's like, oh yeah, I have to do all the work if I want her to vote absentee. I have to do that.
Yep.
Okay. My son, on the other hand, my son is really everyone was expecting that he's going to pursue a music career.
Okay.
He's a classical pianist. He's a composer. He taught himself how to sing.
Wow.
And all of that. He has a benefit concert every year for different causes. So May 22nd.
I would love to see it.
And but instead, he majored in political science.
Really?
That was his decision. Doesn't have anything to do with me. If
you sure?
I would have asked him to go to music. And so as part of his undergrad, he took an internship at the Senate, at the New Hampshire State Senate, and he took advantage of everything that was there. I don't know if it's the prodding from this is what the teachers told or whatever it is. So part of the things that they're doing is like informational interviews. He took advantage of that informational interviews. So he sit down with Sununu and of course all of the senators and Justice Hicks who since has retired.
What an opportunity.
And he is very good friends with Justice Hicks. They still go out to lunch. Justice Hicks goes to his concerts, and Tom Sherman. They're very close. Lucas and Tom Sherman.
Wait, are we gonna see a dynasty with your family? Is that what's coming? Are we gonna see another Bay?
Oh, he doesn't. He doesn't. He didn't take my name, although my daughter did. My daughter has put in his mind that when I turn 18 years old, I'm gonna change my name to my mommy's last name. And then when she filled out her paperwork as to why she's changing her name, because I want to have my mommy's name.
That's some dedication, though.
Yeah. Anyway, so my son, and so on. So if you're staffer, then you can't say what your political affiliation was. And if you see my kid, he dresses like Alex P. Keaton.
Oh, really? Really? Wow, that's some family ties. You don't hear that too much anymore.
But I always think, oh yeah, my kid dresses like Alex P. Keaton. He actually got a recognition at the end of his internship as far as the best dressed person in the Senate. So he has this award and a citation, and then so during his the last day of his internship, because again you can't feel your affiliation.
Yeah.
On the last day of his internship, he told me and my sister. My sister is vacationing from the Philippines. He will give us a tour of the State House. I have not been to the State House to that.
Okay.
Although I've already decided that I was gonna run,
yeah,
I have not registered. It's probably May, and so he was going to whoever the senator was introducing us, and there was Senator Rosenwald, who I have worked with in the platform committee, and when my son introduced us to Senator Rosenwald, and Senator Rosenwald was like, I did not put the two of you together.
That is, you have been everywhere. You have, I think this is why you're popular, right? Are you kind of like a social bug? You put yourself out there a lot?
Um,
Or because some
bro,
people like to just hide at home, but you seem to be like just out there.
well, it's okay. It's a learned thing.
Okay.
When I was an executive in Measured Progress,
Yeah.
this thing about my daughter sometimes tells me, "Mommy, you always know what to say to people. Like just make people know what to say to them."
The gift of gab.
Yeah, I wasn't like that as a child.
Really?
I okay. Okay, you've been to the Philippines.
Yep.
Colorism. See how dark I am? I'm from a family of not all dark people.
I just watched a video on racism in the Philippines and how the hierarchy is
Yep.
about skin color.
Yep.
And, so you have the white, the mestiza,
Mestiza.
mestizo, and then everybody
Mhm.
underneath.
So, I I'm from a big family.
Yep.
I have fair-skinned siblings. So, I'm the ugly one.
Oh no.
And we know that. And I remember when I was a child, and my sister was already in college. When I was like in kindergarten, and I was like, I'm gonna have my friends over. Hide in the bedroom. Do not come out.
Oh.
And another thing about my being dark, and this is me thinking about it, and why did I grow up like this? I don't think that my family knew I was smart.
Really?
But you've been in the Philippines, you know how the smart is. Okay, do the song and dance and
Oh yeah, yeah.
and the recite the poem and all of that from the time that they were little.
Yeah.
I That wasn't me. I was not asked to do that.
That is so
So
wild.
so I did not. I guess nobody knew I was smart until I actually started school.
I understand what you're saying here because I know how the Philippines are, and your skin color is literally everything over there. It seems very superficial because why would you care about somebody's skin color? But I do understand the colonization of the Philippines and like how that was treated. And obviously the darker you are, the more likely you are from the province, and you're probably a rice farmer or something like that. So yeah, that's crazy.
It's really crazy. And then I also had so yeah, so I didn't know I didn't know I was smart either. But I remember, so I was in kindergarten, and then in first grade, and there was, it was the first time that there was a public kindergarten. And so and it wasn't required. So in first grade, there are kids who didn't go to kindergarten, and then there are kids who did, and they're just in the Philippines. In most schools, you have the section A, the smart kids. So everyone who went to kindergarten were in section A. And so we are now here in a classroom where there were 40 kids, and they didn't have enough tables and chairs. So they added a table for two kids at the very back of the room, close to the door, farthest away from the blackboard, and they're gonna put in the smartest kids.
Yeah.
And so the teacher is like, okay, who are the smartest kids? And they pointed to me. I didn't I didn't know I was smart. I did not know I was smart either. But I guess people are okay. People, this still surprises me to this day.
Yeah.
People see things in me, and then they tell me, it's like, really?
I mean, it's hard to
Like I made I posted something
Yeah.
on social media recently. This is like within the last month. And it's a comment about myself. And somebody commented, Luz, when you're in a room, people know you're in that room.
Yeah.
Okay. That was not the first time that it was ever said to me, but the other and this is more like these people know me and politically.
Yeah.
That it was said to me in my professional capacity, like you walk in the room and people know you are in the room, and so
The energy
I
changes.
only know that because people tell me.
Yeah. Usually when people grow up, when we're adults and they are the
Mhm.
center of attention, normally you can see that when they're a child. Like for me, I I don't know where they are. They probably don't exist anymore, but like I remember like watching old VHS tapes of me like trying to tell jokes, trying to be the center of attention. I'm always like look at me, look at me.
Yeah.
Even in school, 8th grade, I was class clown for my school. I went to high school. I graduated from high school, class
Mhm.
president, class clown, most spirit, like all that stuff. And I think that's what makes me who I am today. But you didn't have that experience.
No, no, I did not. Uh, so and then I went to that science high school where I was coming from a public school in the province, going to Manila, where the kids there were children of captains of industry and doctors and lawyers,
Yeah.
and then some of them from the provinces they didn't even speak Tagalog, so we actually mostly speak English, and as you know, education is in English, but it's different when you don't actually speak English at home. So I was in that high school. I was very insecure, and also you start with, okay, you're 13 years old, and you're taking with a kind of education that you got from the province. You're taking physics, biology, chemistry, two algebra classes
Yeah.
in one go. Plus, they're very conscious about our humanities. We have a Filipino language class and a Filipino reading class and an English language class and an English reading class. It's the your full load. So that it did not tell. So elementary school, I was fine because then we were discovering that I'm actually smart. I actually got into this school by accident, but that's for another story. And then I literally graduated in my high school. I graduated at the um top of the bottom third of the graduating class. But you go to this really good school. So I went to the University of the Philippines with no intention of becoming an honor student or anything. I just so have then I'm again I was back like I was in elementary school discovering that I'm actually good. I'm actually at the top of my major.
Yeah.
And really, so anyway, but there's still that. So when I was working at Measured Progress, and I became a low level executive, and they actually I had an executive coach, and because people have to get to know me, I was a math major. Now I'm managing these people. My people my, my people skills are probably not up to par. And so I was sent to this coach, and so we have to how I deal with people, how I let people know who I am, and all of that. And then there's the speech itself, the way that the way that I speak. Am I understood, or do I look like just somebody who's mumbling and no one understands, even though I'm saying really smart things. So I had that coach, my executive coach, and then when we got to the point where, okay, we have to understand what you're saying, and it's okay, we have to send you to another coach, and she's a theater person. Now you can still look up this person because I think she is still the artist laureate of New Hampshire.
Oh.
uh, Genevieve Vachel. She was the founding executive director of the New Hampshire Theater Project. So I was sent to her, and I was really into it. It's like, here my company is paying a gajillion dollars
To
to
make this
make
happen.
to make this happen. No, seriously,
Yeah.
the executive coach was getting paid $235 an hour
Wow. Where do
plus
I sign up for that?
plus driving
Yeah.
to Dover from Exeter. $100 an hour for however long it takes for him to drive. And so it's like, okay, I'm gonna take advantage of it. After, of course, I was like, God damn it, why is the company fixing me when all of these other people in the company is not doing their job, and why are they fixing me? But then it's like, okay, calm down, Luz.
Yep.
You know, your company's investing on you.
Yeah.
So I took advantage of it. So what I did was, I took I remember when we were making a company DVD. So people were interviewed, and I remember I was interviewed probably an hour or 2 hours, and then I had like a snippet of 2 minutes in the DVD. So I said, okay, let's do that. So I asked for that. It so happens like it's from Atlantic Media. I didn't know Nancy. Nancy Water is Nancy Water is the owner of Atlantic Media.
Yeah, she's great.
Right. I didn't know her, but I asked for the VHS. I sent it to the coach and say, okay, here I was talking candidly about my profession, and figure it out, because I had a discussion with my coach about, is my accent interfering? And I don't know, I've thought, like, I put a lot of thought on my accent, and me and my coach decided, like, no, let's not erase your accent because it's part of you. And I agree with that.
That's an interesting take.
And so we decided we're not erasing my accent. It's part of me, but I still, the thing about people understanding what I say is, let's work on that. So Genevieve Angel looked at the DVD, or the VHS, and basically came up with two things. It's speak slowly.
That's a big one.
And enunciate.
Yes. Yes, those two things. When I joined the Air Force back in '96, when I was in basic training, I slept next to a guy that was from Boston. You get that, the heavy Boston accent, and like, hey, I'm happy to be here, and all that, right?
Your car?
Yeah, where's the car? Let's go.
Yeah.
and I watched how they interacted with him, and I don't think it was really good. Like, accents make a difference, especially in a country where, we deal with a lot of diversity.
Right.
So basic and then tech school, I still had a pretty heavy accent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Connecticut. And so that whole area, I trained myself to not have an accent. So throughout my entire Air Force career, people would always ask me, where are you from? And I'd tell them, they're like, no, you're not. Because I was always afraid of how people would treat me because of where I'm from. And so it wasn't until after I retired before I just kind of let my jaw just do its thing and become New England again. But so that's interesting that you wouldn't change your accent because it's who you are. And I'm on the other side where I purposely changed my accent so I could have more opportunities.
You're a white man.
And that privilege is not lost on me. I want to be clear on that. But even against other white men, like, and I'll tell you, the reason being is because being the center of attention, I always would volunteer to be the MC, the squadron holiday MC, the whatever. Like, I will do all the retirements. Give me the microphone, I'll do it. And I'm afraid that if I was up there and I was like, hey, we just want to congratulate with these guys, they're going to be like, please get him off the mic.
And so anyway, part of this training, other than the actual speaking, that I have to enunciate and make sure that I pronounce the final consonant sound, because I hear it for some people from Thailand.
Yep.
That they really miss the final consonant sound, and it's because I had a Thai housekeeper one time. I didn't realize that it's happening to me also. Every so often I realize, oh my God, yeah, but I don't hear it from me as much as I hear it from other people, but it's a matter of recognizing that it's actually happening.
Yes.
And so when I remember I make sure that I do it. That I do it.
I think a lot of people here, at least, probably wouldn't understand though, like how the Philippines is, especially when you're a kid, because one, the Philippines has 99 dialects.
Yep.
Two, if you're not in Manila, nobody really speaks English.
Right.
So the further you go out from the center of Manila, the less likely
Yep.
that person is to know.
Well, but I think there's also I actually before we moved to New Hampshire 1999, but before that I was literally in contact with the best person in the accent erasure business.
Really?
I did. I
I
was
didn't
in
even know that
contact.
was a thing.
Yeah. There's someone and something, and I was emailing her and all of that, and talking about my predicament and all of that. And one of the things that she said to me that makes a lot of sense, because if you're from Europe or South America and you're Hispanic, erasing your accent is much easier. It's so easy for Germans to speak American, to speak English with an American accent, because of their language, and the way that they learn it. But
Well, we're all
but
part of the Germanic language
right,
family as well.
yeah.
So,
But she said that the hardest accent to erase are Filipinos, Singaporeans, and Indians. You know why?
I believe that.
Because their accent is not physiological. It's
Right.
not the way that you move your tongue or you move your mouth. It's not that. It's psychological. Because you were speaking English.
Yeah.
The way that Filipinos speak English, the way that Indians speak English, the way that Singaporeans speak English. You're already speaking English. So erasing the accent is harder because you learn the language with that accent, and so so that's how she made a difference. It's not physiological, it's psychological.
I wonder if that's why I struggle with Tagalog so much. Because like I did learn a lot of it earlier on, and my wife would always giggle whenever I would like speak to her in
Mhm.
Tagalog. And then I didn't realize what you just said makes total sense, because it's not about the muscles in your mouth like other languages. It really is in the
Mhm.
head, and I can't get there as an
and
English
and
speaker.
and I have language mannerisms. And then the misgendering.
Yeah.
It's because in my language,
A and O is a
yeah,
difference.
but the pronoun
Yeah.
is just one pronoun.
True.
There's no his and her. There's no he and she. It's just one.
Yeah, Filipino language. It's officially called Filipino, but it's
Yep.
Tagalog,
Tagalog.
and obviously other ones
And
too. But
I don't know if you know the history of that. Why Tagalog became the Filipino
the national language,
Yep.
it was in 1950s, I
Yes,
believe.
yes, because of Quezon.
Yes, and but it never really took on. It never, and I can say this just anecdotally because we went to Cebu. We went to Cebu in 2013, and for the first time, my wife speaks 6 different dialects, and she couldn't speak to anybody in Cebu because
Cebuano.
it's that and Visayan, and just she didn't know it, so she couldn't participate. And I looked at her and I smiled. I said, "Oh my God, you're a tourist in your own
Yep.
country." Because it's different. Like in the United States, we have a lot of different dialects
Mhm.
in the United States, but we all speak English.
And in the Philippines, we refer to them as dialects, but they're not.
They're not.
actually
They're
different
full
languages.
languages. They're full.
Yeah.
Like,
And my husband, whenever he's in the Philippines, this is how he describes it to me. It's like watching a foreign movie without subtitles.
yes. I have so many different dictionaries for Philippine to English, but I have Ilocano, I have Cebuano,
Yeah.
I have Colano. That one's hard to say. But I have like a lot of the
Mhm.
different dialect
Yeah.
dictionaries, just to kind of, I thought it was
Yep.
interesting.
And I only speak Tagalog. And okay, here's the thing about regionalism. It's a small country,
Very
but
small.
the regionalism is tremendous. Okay, in Batangas, if you're Visayan, You're a maid.
Ooh. Ooh, that's rough.
Because those are the only Visayas we know. So until I was in high school, being in this fancy school, I didn't know any Visayans who are not maids. In Batangas, the only Visayas who are in Batangas are maids.
That is interesting. It's such a different way of life, and I'm familiar with all of that. Anybody that's watching this later on, I hope that they'll dig in a little bit because the Philippines is such an interesting place. In the United States, we occupied it for 50 years after the Spanish,
Right.
you know, for 300 years. Philippines is just, it's a melting pot like no other place
Yes.
that I've been to, whether it's the food, the language, the people, everything.
Did you know about this movie? So they made a movie in the Philippines where it's sort of a parallel universe movie. What if the Philippines was not colonized?
Wow, that would
So
be
it's a
very
modern
different.
day, but as if it wasn't colonized. So the royalties, the old royalties, and all of that is what's in the movie.
I think it would be so foreign. The result of not having
Hmm.
Spanish influence, not having American influence.
Yep.
I mean, in a perfect world, I wouldn't want any of those
Right.
influences, right? And let the country kind of do its own thing. But those influences are seen everywhere in the Philippines. Everything from like the little street vendors, like burger
Mm-hmm.
machine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always think of burger machine. That's the one, right? Go get a burger
Mm-hmm.
on the side. That only exists because America was
Yep.
there. We you know, good or bad. I love seeing that. How much, I want to switch gears just slightly here, but like how much of your Philippine background affects your legislation? Like the way that you carry yourself in Concord or the way you produce bills. Does it influence you? Like, are you looking I'm not sure how to phrase that, but
Okay. But I do get your question.
yeah.
At least I get the spirit of your question. When I first ran, I wasn't running as an immigrant candidate. I was running as an American
So you already
concerned
had
with
the
human
mindset.
rights.
Yeah.
The the Filipino sentiment really only came in last year when so you know Cora and I are in the AAPI caucus, but it's like, okay, it's a happenstance. I happen to be AAPI, so of course I'm part of the caucus. If my party wants, to uphold the diversity, of course I will contribute. Cora and I were in the committee for to increase diversity in the delegation that goes to the presidential conventions and so forth. Yeah, we did that. Uh, but yeah, okay, but it's I just happen to be Asian,
Yeah.
but I did not think of bringing myself there representing the culture, the immigrant sentiment, and all of that until now, until last year when so I the okay the Filipino Independence Day, which was June 12th,
Yep.
was a Thursday. Thursdays is when we have um
Isn't that voting
our
day?
session, yeah,
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
sessions. So that's a good time to make unanimous consent speeches and whatever your interests are. So I planned it, right? So I said, okay, I'm gonna make a to commemorate the Philippine Independence Day on June 12th because it's a Thursday, and then my sister was visiting. She's arriving on the 9th, so I was like, I'll invite my sister, so it'll be a good thing. And then I'll ask my son to sing the national anthem
Oh.
and all of that. So I planned all of this, checked it with the clerk, blah 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 blah, until I realized, oh my God, I'm traveling that day. I have a trip. So I'm like, okay, let's back up. can I do it on the 5th, the week before? Because apparently I'm traveling on the 12th. So I did this. So I did the commemoration of the Philippine Independence Day. So I think I did a good job. It's on my YouTube channel, the whole speech.
I have to go check it out. Yeah.
And so what happened was, so to me it's like, oh, Philippine Independence Day, yeah, of course. So I did that. And then what happened was, after the speech, and it's a unanimous consent speech. Usually there's someone who would make a motion to make the speech part of the permanent record.
Yeah.
And then the speaker will say, no objection. It's part of the permanent record. So it's in the history of New Hampshire, right? Okay. Standing ovation, blah, 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 blah. And I spoke about, the intertwined history of the Philippines, World War II, but even before that, the immigration, it's a long time. It's in the 1700s.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then on the way out, we were, I don't know if you know Janet Wall, right?
Yeah.
So Janet Wall, because she has an accident, so she's a cane, and she's waiting in the elevator. So we were just there, and so usually we get caught up in the flag hall downstairs. But this time I saw her waiting with Janet, because Janet's waiting for the elevator. Okay, so I said, I'll wait with Jess, because, we're buddies. Here's a guy, a representative from the North, who came to me. Now, get this. You know how little I am, right?
Sure. Yeah.
He's like at least 6 feet tall, hovering over me. And he said, when you're speaking, you said that the Philippines is your home country. I said,
Yeah.
yeah? Seriously? Yeah. Then how are you allowed to serve in the house?
That's a really ignorant position.
And so I said, well, I'm a naturalized citizen. I've been a citizen for a while, and that's the requirements. Like, then the Philippines is not your home country.
You're just supposed to forget about it?
So in my mind, this is semantics. In my mind, hey, potato, potato.
Yeah.
Tomato, tomato. I didn't say that to him, but I did say, in a much more adult way, like, well, you think of it like that, and I interpret it my way. Goodbye. Didn't say that, but yeah, to the hand. I didn't say that. And then Jess said, okay, now remember, this guy, I can't tell between an English and a Scottish accent. He's one of those accents.
Yeah.
He's an immigrant. And so Jess said, so what is your home country? And he said, this is my home country. And so I was like, so I was going to let that go. You're a big freaking asshole.
Yeah.
Get away from me. Are you just thinking that your accent is superior to mine? I don't know. So I was going to let it go.
Yeah.
So Janet went in the elevator. Jess and I just was walking around. And when we were walking, so we were still talking about it. And then here's another representative, Megan Murray, who's also the chair of the Hillsborough County delegation, and say, hey, what are you talking about? So we told her, Miss Jennifer, we told her what was going on, and said, you know what? He did that to another representative. So there's a representative who I believe was born in the United States, but her mother's from Guatemala, so she has a Guatemalan flag on her website. And apparently this guy commented to this representative who was born in the United States to go home.
That is the go home part it's insane.
And then so we just kept walking, and then Megan said, and Megan is certainly, she's been in the house longer and all that. you have to tell that to Alexis. Alexis Simpson is our minority leader. Yeah,
Yeah,
you have
she's
to tell
great.
that
Yeah.
to Alexis. Like,
Right.
so
You just want to let it go, move
let it go,
on, but
let it go. And so anyway, we were at the Concord Brewery, and Alexis came later. It's like, hey, I heard. And yeah, so Alexis said, well, talk to the speaker, or I can talk to the speaker on your behalf, or I can just make this a topic that comes up in my weekly conversation with the speaker. I said, see,
right.
do that. I'll let you know if I change my mind.
Yeah.
And so I was doing over it on the weekend, and remember the reason I did it on the 5th and not on the 12th was because I was supposed to be traveling
Yeah.
on the 11th. Uh and it's so then I was fired from my job.
Because of that?
No,
Oh, okay.
about
Okay.
something else. So it's part of what happened. As far as so my sister did arrive on the 9th. I was fired on the 10th. That means I was not traveling on the 11th. And so now I can be there on the 12th. And so I'm like, then I'm thinking more about it. No, I don't have a job. And honestly, when I was fired from my job, it's a relief.
Sure.
That's it for another story, but I was just relieved.
Sometimes good things happen
You know,
through bad things.
I had a very good severance. They paid for my Cobra for 6 months. I
Hey.
realized how expensive.
Very expensive.
$500
Unbelievable.
premium.
Yes.
Premium is
Yeah.
$500 a month. Anyway, had a good severance and all that. So I wasn't concerned about having fired, but like, oh my God, I'm actually gonna be at the house on the 12th. So I wrote another speech, the one that's excerpted. I wrote,
You're doubling down.
yeah,
Okay.
and so I contacted Alexis and said, okay, I've been thinking more about it, and I have um changed my mind, and I do want to respond, and here's my speech. I literally put the whole speech in an email.
Wait, is this the speech that you showed me
Yeah.
before? I'm gonna put a link to that
Okay.
in the description below, so anybody that's watching right now can follow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And you can put the link on the original speech also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I and then she called me. She called me. Oh no, she responded to my email first. And she said, there are a lot of things going on. Responding in kind is probably not the way to go. But let's talk. So we finally talked Wednesday, probably about 5 p.m. Remember, session is Thursday.
Yeah.
And if you're going to speak, you have to notify the clerk. So we talked about it, and we talked. So said, okay, this is what the speaker said. You can file a complaint of an ethics violation complaint or a harassment complaint. You can come to my office, we can give you the paperwork. Okay. So now think. I can file the paperwork, sign everything, send it to the speaker's office. And the farthest that it'll go is somebody's desk drawer.
Yep. Yep.
And so now I'm like, I'm even more pumped up about this. So I was like, no, I really think that I want to make the speech. At this point, I don't think she actually read the speech. She read my email that's at the top, but did not read the speech. And I made it a point to actually put the text in there instead of attaching it as a Word document. So it's likely to get read. I don't think she read the speech, but she didn't want me to do it. I'm like, I think I'm leaning towards making the speech like, okay, well, if you do, just email the clerk um and then let copy me.
Yeah.
So I emailed the clerk close to midnight, and so I said, okay, I told you before that I wasn't coming to the session, but things have changed, so I am gonna be at the June 12th session, and so there's one. Number two, my sister is visiting from the Philippines, and she will be in the gallery because they announce your visitors,
Yep.
and also I would like to make a unanimous consent speech about belonging.
Which I think is a very powerful speech.
And then, so the clerk is not very good at responding to your email or emails. So I was there, right? Sat down. I don't know if he even got the the email. So I don't know if I was going to speak because you have to be recognized to speak.
Yep.
I don't know if they're going to call me. But my sister was announced that guest of Representative Luz Bay, blah, blah, blah. So I know that he got the email. So I know that he read whatever it is that's there. So anyway, so I did the unanimous consent speech, got a lot of standing ovations. I got a lot of standing ovations. But if you look at the video,
Yep.
and standing ovations from both sides.
That's powerful if you can get it bipartisan.
Yeah. The two people who were not standing are Osborne and Sweeney. You can see that they're not standing.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect them
Yeah.
to
Osborne
stand.
and Sweeney. Anyway, so I got the standing ovation, and again, somebody made a motion to make it part of the of the permanent record. Which, by the way, you would think is just something that's. Last week, there's a thing about somebody objecting for a speech to not be put on permanent record, and it's still going on. It's something that we have to take up in
Politics
the House.
has changed so
Yep.
much.
And so in any case, so I didn't think about it. The session ended early, probably about noon and that. And I went home, and then I got a text from the communications person of the House caucus, and he said, "Oh, could you look at this? I did a 5-minute clip or something that I want to put in social media, but I'm not gonna put it without your permission." Like, why? It's a public speech. Put it in. I did not recognize the impact that it was gonna make. I did not. She did. She's an expert and she's a communications person. She's recognizing what was there and how impactful it's gonna be. So I said, "Oh yeah, sure, put it." I didn't even have to listen to it. Like, just put it. Okay. The next day, my sister's visiting from the Philippines.
Yeah.
I just like, "Hey, I'm getting these messages from my friends. Like, is this your sister?" It's like, that clip that was posted on social media was like getting reactions from all over the place, and then suddenly there are publications, Asian publications, Filipino publications posting the thing, and some other there's the Filipino American Life took the clip itself and posted it on their site, and so forth and so on. And if you see the discussion, it's like, good God. And then TV stations in the Philippines, CNN in the Philippines, and so forth. And it's like, I did not realize. Oh, and another significant thing. Remember my high school?
Yeah.
Because I graduated from the bottom, so I'm like, I'm still very quite insecure about this. And a lot of people graduated from the school and they went to Ivy League schools here in the U.S. and fancy schools and all of that. And there is an international alumni organization. I've heard of it. I know it's going on, but I'm too insecure to even be part of it. So I'm not. They found me and they asked me to be the keynote speaker in the next gala
Wow.
because of that speech.
When you're going through this and you're finding out for the first time that you've gone viral, are you nervous or are you excited?
I was excited.
Okay.
It's kind of like, oh, little old me.
Yeah.
But I think there's also the part of what the people are saying.
Yeah.
When I read, okay, so every so often there's a Filipino magat who will say stupid shit like they do.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like, yeah, you're saying what we're feeling
Yeah.
and so forth. And I encourage this because you have enough proximity to Filipino Americans that you will get what they're saying. Tell me what you think, because yeah, and it's really, you and of course the headline was Luz Bay, go home. No one really told me to go home. It's really the context.
It's the idea.
It's the idea.
Yeah.
And yeah, people have reached out. People are reaching out to my sister and all that. And if not for my sister calling my attention to it, it probably would have taken me a little bit before I catch on as to what's going on. And then I went home to the Philippines, and given then there's this publication, and then it's like, oh yeah, we didn't get any response from the local the Democratic Party and all that, and no response from the local Republican Party, blah 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 blah. And here's the thing of this Filipino organizations, blah blah blah. I'm like, hey, I sort of know who's in this organization because of the Biden Harris.
Yeah.
So they're Filipino Biden Harris thing. And then I contacted her. It's like, hey, have you seen this article? It's like, and then she got really upset because this writer quoted the president of this organization, and she's the president of the organization, and she wasn't interviewed. So there's that, which to me, and I'm not making a big deal out of it, but one thing that I noticed is these people who wrote articles and all of that, and then and some people only found out about it because there's a Filipino podcast in the US, there's a Filipino podcast in Canada discussing this. No one freaking reached out to me.
They may not know how. But I'd imagine you're kind of out there, so maybe that's not it.
Out there. People are calling me up like, Luz, aren't you concerned about putting your home address publicly and all of that? No, I changed, but out there I'm easy to find.
Yeah.
I'm easy to find, but they're not contacting me. It's like, is there some kind of a different set of mores? I would imagine that this is journalistic mores that's different now, with a positive, like they can discuss you and talk about you and all of that. Like, have you people actually tried to talk to this person that you're talking about? It baffles the mind, but far be it from me. It's like, hey, you're talking about me. Why are you not contacting me? Because like, okay, that could be a hammer that I hit my head with.
Yeah. New Hampshire is one of the few places that I've been to that really captures the go home sentiment. Mm-hmm. Whenever I'm reading Facebook, and I understand there's a lot of bots and foreign actors there, but that seems to be a really popular go-to statement here. Like, hey, go home. You're not white. Yeah, go home.
Like, like Walter, who is like, okay, he looks Chinese. He doesn't speak Chinese. He grew up in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And then, but whenever we have rallies and they drive by him, go home. Like, where do you think he's going home?
Yeah, I don't understand the sentiment. I don't know if maybe just people have been programmed to think like, if you're not this way, you're from out there.
A long time ago. Yeah, in the early 2000s probably. And I read somewhere where, okay, in the South, there's racism because the African Americans and all that, because there's a lot of African Americans in the South, so the white people know who to be racist against.
Yeah.
And then somebody said, there's really no racism in New Hampshire because they don't know who to be racist against, because they're pretty much all white, and
Yeah, yeah.
racist against they're
That's an interesting idea. Yeah.
But the thing about when and I really don't feel a lot being on the business end of a lot of racism, because I'm so insulated in my field. Even moving here, we were recruited by a testing company, so we're still within my academic field. I mean, the testing industry is basically the intersection of academia and industry. So there's some protection or isolation, and most psychometricians are Asians, so we're not really racist against each other. The white people that we know, such as my husband and other people, we work with each other.
Yeah.
So we don't really feel it. But if you think about it, and I brought this up in my professional organization a long time ago. So I'm a member of the National Council on Measurement and Education, founded in 1938. Blah blah blah. I've been a member since I was a student. I was on the board and at one point and so forth. But before that, when I was a young professional, I was like, you look at every conference, you look at the conference breakfast, how many Asians there are, and then there's a presidential table on the stage. The board members, they're all white. People have no representation. Why are there no Asians on the board? And so I'm connected enough to some. Again, I was very young. I'm connected enough to some people, and I was up and coming in my career. I was like 5 years into my career, and so I talked to some board members that I know, and then they brought it up, like, why are there no Asians on the board? And the response was, because no one's qualified.
Oh, you got to fix that, right?
Yeah. So anyway, eventually, I was on the board. I don't know if I might not have been the first Asian on the board, but at one point, and again, racism is a funny thing. At one point, there is this precedent. So if you're the immediate past president, you're in charge of the nomination committee, and you sort of control who becomes on the board, who's the next president, and all. You have a lot of leverage. He had a Chinese girlfriend. He studied Chinese. He's a white guy.
Yep.
Big mucky muck in a testing company that shall remain nameless, other than saying it's ETS. And he decided, the next president has to be Asian.
Wow, that's a declaration.
So he put an Asian woman and a Chinese woman and a Korean woman to run for the president. To run for president. Okay, that's not right either.
Yeah, I mean, doing it just for the sake of doing it is not great. You really want somebody that's qualified and represented.
Right.
So
that wasn't right either. When I got on the board, I do not think that I was asked to run for board membership because I was Asian. I really don't think so. And so that thing about and this is like, of course, people don't talk about it, but I happen to be close with some people who were on the board at that time, and it's like, yeah, because Randy decided the next president is going to be Asian.
That's such an interesting.
And so to me, I don't like that either. So to your question to me earlier, as far as when I ran,
Yeah.
did I run as an immigrant candidate? No, I ran as an American. This immigration thing, my interest on immigration is more brought upon by the bad legislation coming from the other side, like everything disenfranchise immigrants, especially brown immigrants.
Yeah.
Disenfranchise candidates, especially brown candidates.
It was such an interesting thought that I had, and that's why I asked that question, because I don't really think about immigration. Like, the average person probably doesn't, because before, like, 10 years ago, everybody was an immigrant.
Right.
Everybody just comes here. It's a simulation. It's a whatever, right? It's just where we live. I've had the privilege of living around the world, and it's very different than what the U.S. is. And so the immigration thing has only been really a hot topic over the last, like, handful of years. Like, it's at a boiling point right now, and it's scary. And that's why, because of your background, I was curious, like, where you kind of exist in there.
Yeah.
And I also want to ask you a little bit about, like, same topic. Do younger candidates or people that are interested in politics, they see your stuff, do they come to you looking for mentorship? Do you dip your toes in and help others, like, from your own background to help them come up and establish?
I wish they would.
Yeah.
Although there is I have been contacted by a high school kid from Manchester. She said, "Oh, she is she just moved to Manchester, but she's already has established herself organizing political stuff in the Philippines, and then she moved here. She's already part of a lot of different programs that are not necessarily state or local programs. These
Sure.
are international programs, and she's already there. And I think she has this program about getting kids interested in politics and international politics. And she wrote to me, and I very nice letter, very articulate. Wanna get involved, and then she has a phone number. She has a nice form. She has a nice stationery, and called her. No response. Called her again. No response. Emailed her. I said, "Oh, she emailed me. I'll email you back." And nothing. So I was like, "Are you just sending this to me because it's part of your program about young people contacting politicians?" It's sus.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on there, but as I said, I did not, I didn't run as an immigrant candidate. I didn't run as an Asian candidate. I ran as an American.
Yeah.
But and so it's really only now. And let me tell you, like, I never thought. Okay, so this is my second marriage. I was married to someone in graduate school. Your first trial marriage
Sure.
in graduate school.
Yep.
White person from Illinois, because I went to Southern Illinois, and so he graduated first and moved to South Carolina. So my plan is to move to South Carolina when I graduate. And then somebody asked me, and I was dumbfounded when I was asked this: "Aren't you concerned about moving to the South as an interracial couple?"
Oh.
Until that time, I did not even think that we're an interracial couple.
Wow.
Nothing. I did
Yeah.
not think about races in terms of relationships.
No, you're right about that. When people think about interracial marriages here in the U.S., I think they solely think about white and black. It doesn't matter the gender, just
Yep.
the white and black, because that's what America, like, is always referenced as. So when you marry an Asian or somebody else, you don't really think about that. Like, it took me a while to realize that I'm also in a biracial marriage.
Yep.
Because it's just normal to me, so I don't think about
Right.
that. Yeah, that's
It
an
is just like,
interesting.
I did not realize. Then, oh my God, all of my relationships since I came to America is interracial because I've not dated a Filipino.
We got the same experience. So we were in Georgia. We were in Augusta, Georgia, when my wife and my son came over, and we didn't really, even though we were in the South and we were there for 5 years together, we didn't really experience a lot of racism, but I bet you if I asked that question to my wife, she'd be like, "What are you talking about? Here's all the examples."
Yep.
But being a guy of
Yeah.
privilege, I probably didn't see a lot of
Yeah.
it.
Well, one of the things that stuck with me was uh when I was married to my ex-husband, and we were in a mall in South Carolina. And so, just like any husband, you're outside the store waiting for your wife.
Yeah, it's so
And,
true.
and then somebody approached him and talked to him about me. Oh, your wife, you're Filipina, and blah blah blah. And then she was like, "Are you in the military?"
It's always the question. It's always the question. As if you go around any of the military installations,
Yeah.
that's where you find all the Korean ladies and all
Mhm.
the Filipino ladies,
Yep.
and you'll have some of the other nationalities
Yeah.
sprinkled in. But yeah, that's a very common thing. That's what makes it weird about living here, though, because they closed Pease. They made
Mhm.
it a National Guard base, so
Mhm.
there's hardly anybody over there.
Yep.
And then you have the Naval Shipyard, but that's still 35 minutes away,
Right.
and people around bases don't typically commute that far.
Right.
So it's not like what we're used to, where you just go to the base and there's all the
Yep.
Filipinos that you could ever want. So that is true.
And then, like, so in Dover, for example, and generally in the seacoast, the Filipinos are in the medical profession.
Very much so.
And because they're in the medical profession, economically they're fine. So it's hard to encourage them to participate in the political process, because just like me, I'm not very much affected. So only if the immigration thing is is
Yeah.
is uh
Yeah.
is the issue, would they be interested? Like, how is, for example, the current immigration situation in the United States, how much is that affecting the export of nurses and doctors to the United States? I don't know. How about those who are here? How are they affected? Are there new policies of the US that now there are reactive policies in the Philippines that would be pertinent? I don't know. And one time, because I know uh the consul general based in New York. And so I thought, you know what? I can invite him over here. I can gather people, gather them in Concord. I know how much it costs to rent the theater, and all that. So I've run this in my head, and then invite the Filipinos in New Hampshire, so that they can ask immigration related question to the consul general. And I'll do that on my own volition, until I thought, oh my God, here's a gathering of immigrants. Is ICE going to target us?
That's a very scary thing. Speaking of that, like the Christmas party,
Mhm.
you didn't attend, but we did, and that was in the back of my head, like a full gathering of
Yeah,
any like immigrant base.
yeah,
That's scary.
I know.
And in my back of my head, when we pulled in, I was like, this could go wrong really fast. It
And
didn't, thank God, but
so when I went to the Philippines in August,
okay, so recent then, yeah.
very recent, my son was pleading with it. This is an emergency thing. It's my friends. We have a meeting with the Secretary of Education.
Yep.
Like, come home now, because I've always been a senior advisor to their company, and I'm doing the psychometrics and all that. Oh, come home now. Like, okay. And my son was pleading with me.
My,
What if,
our
what
kids too.
Yeah, what if you can't come back and all that? It's like, you know, I'm fine. I mean, passport, and so, but at the back of my mind, am I concerned? Of course. But you know what? If if the political situation is something that'll stop me from traveling or doing the things that I feel like it can be impactful and all that, they won already. If I not traveled, had it stopped me from doing what I feel like I should be doing, they won already.
When you say that, it reminds me of what they say about terrorists. If you don't go out and you don't carry on your life as normal, the terrorists won.
Yep. And so my son is like, okay, I talked to the immigration lawyer in my firm, blah blah blah. Okay, so yeah, I have my passport, honey. I have passport, my my passport card, and all that. And said, no, you have to bring the document that made you an American.
Yeah.
So I put like, oh, holy crap! And then I had to
You
get
get one of those.
my naturalization paper.
Yeah.
Now, do you know? Did you see that you can't make copies of that?
You cannot make copies. I've had to
You
take.
can. You can even take pictures.
So we have hers in a glass
Yeah.
frame, and I've actually had to take pictures of it and try to make it look like it's not in a glass frame when we were doing paperwork and stuff. But yeah, that's a nightmare to get. If you
Yeah.
lose that, if anything happens to that document, people do not understand the levity of trying to get a copy
Yep.
of that piece. Yeah.
So anyway, so okay, fine. I'm gonna carry it. It's like, okay, here I found it. It's like, okay, would you now please destroy any photograph of this because that's illegal. So
Is
anyway,
it really? Oh, I better delete some photos.
it says there's and that's why, like, if you apply for a passport to use that, you have to send the original. I
Yes.
actually just changed the name on my social security card, because when I have Maria in front of my name, so when I get naturalized, let's drop that. And so my social security card still has the Maria. Now I cannot combine my immigration data on the government website to my social security data because they have different names. So I have to change my name in social security. So I have to bring the original. Good thing is I showed up at the office. They just have to look at it, and I didn't have to send it in. But yeah, I had to do that. Anyway, my point is, so when I traveled, so I brought this, but just so you know, it's good to know personally your federal delegation.
Oh, it is so important.
So
Yeah.
I have everybody's phone number. I notified all of their offices, and so I know them personally. I know the people personally, but I also know personally their staff members, which is the important relationship to make. Not not the congressman or the senator themselves, the staff.
Networking in politics is
Yeah,
everything.
and so and then of course there's Bill, there's Stephanie, and like I can make this phone call and then things wrong because they have done these things before.
Right. And you're fortunate to have those connections because the normal people don't have that.
No,
We've even curtailed our traveling. We were going to go to the Philippines last, or not the Philippines. We were going to go to Thailand last year. We're just going to put it off. We're going to put it off. There's too much what ifs. There's too much anxiety. Even the kids have asked, like, hey, if you could, like, we have a passport, we
Yeah.
have everything. There's no reason why we couldn't go, but we don't because everybody's on edge.
yeah, and so one thing that I had to, I'm telling my son, okay, no, they all have, and then I gave him all the numbers also. I gave him Bill Chase number. So
You're
and
really
and
like
everyone,
making
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
and then I so of course my husband, I know he's nervous, but he's not someone who's gonna say don't do this, never happened. But one of the things, so when that kid Liam Ramos and his dad,
You talking about a little
yeah, the little
5-year-old?
5-year-old and
Yeah.
dad, and was taken out of the Texas prison, and both Ilhan Omar and Joaquin Castro, the representative from Minnesota, where they're from, and the representative from Texas, where the jail is, they were both there, got him out of prison. They both travel in the airplane until he is in Minneapolis. So, the politicians can do things. And that's what I was pointing to my husband. It's like, see this? See what's happening there? I have that.
Yes.
Not that, I don't want to get thrown in jail. I don't want to be detained in any way, shape, or form. But the thing is, there will always be light at the end of the tunnel because I have these connections.
Right. You're very fortunate.
Yeah. And so there's the things like, oh, I might not have Maggie Goodlander's cell phone number, but I have her mother's.
Which honestly might even be better, right?
Absolutely. And she's actually really good, and she's very connected in, like, not just in politics, in business, and all of that. And so, yeah, so there are some comforts. There are but as far as being in politics in this day and age, yeah, there are these things, but they're also like, when my friends say, like, oh, that invite has your home address, are you fucking crazy? Those people who were shot in Minnesota, the speaker of the house, and all of that. And so, like,
You don't seem very bothered by that kind of stuff, though. I mean, and hopefully you don't mind me saying this, but you have Governor Bashir coming to your house next week. You must be one, very excited, but two, you must have a pretty nice house if you throw in a house party and Governor Bashir is coming over. So you're doing good things. I mean, one, I'm glad you are hosting it. We all appreciate that very much. Um, those you've had so much experience in all of this, politics, the immigration, living in New Hampshire for so long, and just and doing all this stuff. How long do you stay in office? How long do you want to do what you do?
okay,
Yeah, I know.
something that I have told people, like, are you running for this again? It's like, yeah, until I die.
Yeah.
I mean, now what's the meaning of that when you're a three-time cancer survivor?
Right. I can see that point.
But there's also the question of, are you running for higher office? And I'm like, I'll do where I'm needed. As I said, am I really doing this for me? Absolutely not. I am really doing this for a lot of other people who need the services, who need the government program, who are very much impacted and affected by government policies. And the thing is, there are people. Okay, let's just state it's fact. Depending on your socioeconomic status, you are more affected or less affected by government policies.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I am doing this for the most people. It's my work for hardworking Granite Staters. I want their lives to be better.
It must frustrate you to a certain degree that we have the government in the state that we do, because even though you're trying to represent those people, those policies just are not getting
No.
passed. So you must be incredibly frustrated, and it still doesn't deter you to not run and go
Well,
find something else to do.
here's the thing. Okay, does it feel like the Democratic Party is Sisyphus pushing that boulder up a hill?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But are we going to recite, can't do anything big, so we're just not doing it?
Yeah.
And to me, I've always said this. Okay, you may not be moving the needle a lot,
Yeah.
but you're moving it in the right direction.
And that does count for something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, okay, am I going to say, I can't do anything big, so I'm not doing it? Well, how many of us, how many millions of people who can't do anything big, but if you put that's a million little things.
I guess that's kind of the answer I expected, because I think you clearly do things because you want to do them. You're very passionate, and I think that comes off in not only your stories but like what you've done as a whole.
And it's never enough.
Well, it never will be.
No.
Nothing
And I
we do.
recognize that. So
Yeah.
when I say, are you going to be doing this until I die? What else is there?
That's a fair point. Well, it depends who you are too, right?
I mean, it's like, okay, am I where I want to be? It's like, oh, my husband and I recognized that we have achieved much more than we are expected to, based on my background, based on his background. Yeah, this upward mobility and all of that, and we're sad that our children is the first generation who are not expected to perform better than their parents.
I read that
Yeah,
article the other day, and that's disturbing to think.
it
What I'm
is.
referring to, and I think what you're referring to, is they did a study. It was in Reddit
Mhm.
r/science, I think like 2 or 3 days ago, and they say because of the screens, because of the internet, because of everything, uh, this is the first generation that will not
Well,
outperform.
but I don't think it's that. I think this is just how it is. I think that this is before that, because I remember listening to an article on NPR about this 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
And then we were thinking about, and then I'm thinking about, there's a social mobility, there's economic mobility, but there's also the geographic mobility.
yeah,
And okay, I cannot probably look at my personal experience because I'm a damn foreigner. But my husband's family, and I can see where they were. Uh his mother's family is from West Virginia. Uh, his father's from Cleveland, from the Polish immigrants, and all of that. So for us to be living in New Hampshire, we both have doctorates. We've both achieved the pinnacle of our career in our chosen field. Uh, we have the biggest house on our street, and all of that. It's like, that's much more than you would expect it from either one of us.
yeah. I think, yeah,
And
absolutely.
and so, like, okay, recognizing that, you know the upward mobility is plateauing. But okay, my son's gonna be a lawyer. He will be, and that's for sure. He has a DSW scholarship.
Sure.
And my daughter is studying her chosen field and all that. That's much more than what we could do. They're graduating with no student loans, not them or not us. Because I was just talking to someone who's older than me, and I was talking about how we have paid our mortgage. Like, oh yeah, we have paid our mortgage too. Now we only have student loans. I'm like, and I looked at him because it's like, aren't you too old to still have student loans?
Yeah, no,
And
there's people
and then
paying
he
student
said,
loans and Social Security
and
money.
then it's like, oh no, it's a student loan of our children. I'm
Oh,
like, oh no, like, okay, my husband is very good, thinking about college fund as soon as that stick turned blue, so to speak.
yeah.
But he was very good about it. So yeah, and you can only do what you can, but there are societal factors
Yep.
that you can't control
I don't think it's necessary that every generation beat the last generation,
in
right?
general.
Yeah, in general. I mean, obviously you want
Mhm.
progress, but I think if like, if I had grandkids and they didn't become lawyers or
Yeah.
doctors, it's not a bad reflection. It's
Yep.
not
No,
anything.
no.
It's I only care is, do you have the best life that you wanted to live,
Absolutely.
right? Do you and your family have the things that you need? And some people don't,
No, and I actually, we know another couple of friend. They of course both have doctorates. We're in the same field, and they have three children, and the youngest is a carpenter. Like, all right, like, oh, he's a really good carpenter. It's like, that's great, you know.
Yeah, I mean, people just need to feel their own worth.
Hmm.
They
Yep.
need to have their own goals. I I don't know. It's not a competition for me. For me, I have a bachelor's. I got a few associate degrees. I didn't go on further than that because I didn't feel like I needed
Right.
it for what I wanted to do. But for my kids, I wanted them to each at least have a bachelor's. right? I can give them the launching pad, right, before they have to go and get roommates and get their own place. So I believe in that too, and I just want them to succeed. But I don't care if they make more money than me. I
Yeah.
don't care if their job is more prestigious than mine. I'm not competing against them. I just want to know when I leave this planet that my
They're
family's
all
good.
set.
Yeah, you're good. Nobody's gonna be living underneath the bridge
Yep.
or anything like that. So it is nice, and we have overcome our I don't know what you call it, speed bumps along
Yep.
the way. My wife comes from the Philippines, and she struggled too. I came from a smaller family. We didn't have much, but we did it.
Yeah.
And I think that's difficult when you go to the house. Well, you go to the house a lot now because you guys are in session
Hmm.
until June, right?
Yep.
What's your hopes this year for, like, do you have any like special bills that you hope get passed? Is there anything that's like on your radar that like that's really important to New Hampshire right now? Or is it just kind of like the same as
Or just on the
always?
defense.
They're just trying to stop things?
Yeah. Like until you're actually paying attention to the details of each one, you don't know how much bad stuff you're up against.
Yeah.
And you know, there are I don't know how many bills we have this year, but it's always usually around 1,000 bills.
Yeah, it's a huge amount.
And actually, it's a low year for election law. And so the way that it's structured, we work on committees. Do I realize all those bad stuff coming from other committees? No, not until I look at social media, and all of the organizations are like, okay, sign up for this, and so forth and so on. And I do the same for some of the bills that I'm in charge of. I actually like the way that we're doing it in election law this year, where for the Democratic side of the election law committee, we get assigned the bills that we concentrate on. So, okay, let's say there are 13 bills this week. Luz, you're in charge of this one, and this one because it's of interest to you. And so there were like three immigrant related bills. So I will like analyze the impact of this bill if it becomes law, and then I put together my questions, and then after the hearings, I don't know what the vote is gonna be. So this could be the minority report, this could be the majority report. Like,
Yeah.
shit, it's not gonna happen. But then I will put together the report, and I will put in all of the things that's from the testimonies, the in-person testimonies, the online testimonies. That's why I made that things like, can you just grab this so I don't have to do it one at a time? So I really do put it in my report, and then all the way there. And then if we're gonna decide that there's gonna be a floor speech on a debate on this bill, then I'm also gonna be doing that. And so I'm like, so you actually go deep on a bill,
Yeah.
and which I think is good, because it's hard to go wide, because there are so many, even within election law there's so many. And then you think about the health and human services, like the vaccination. I'm glad that Jess Lamontagne did what she did. She did a great job
Yeah.
to block that. So right now it's really blocking the bad bills. I you know on my first year, I did not file any bills because I didn't even know the deadlines and all that. That was new. But I was co-sponsor of a bill that was that made New Hampshire the only state in the nation where interracial marriages are protected. I don't know if you know that.
No, I did not know that.
It is okay. The federal protection of interracial marriages is based on Loving 1967 decision of the Supreme Court,
Yep.
right?
Right.
Okay, how quickly do you think the Supreme Court can turn on previous decisions?
Oh, they're really good at it.
Right.
Yeah.
So once it turns,
It's over.
It's over. So New Hampshire, this is in our law
Yeah.
that interracial marriages are protected. And then the second year, again, I co-sponsored. Now, do I have bills in my head?
I would hope not.
I do have bills in my head that I want to file.
Okay.
Now that I'm on my second term, I know more. Then okay, well, but I don't want it to not go anywhere this year. It's not gonna go anywhere
So
this year.
why bother?
So why bother? And so this year I'm co-sponsor of a lot of bills. Last year I was prime sponsor of a bill that protects small businesses, and I actually did it for Hong's Asian Noodle Bar in Dover.
Really?
Yeah, they're having this issue, like they're getting a scam about to happen, and so and the Secretary of State's office didn't know what to do with it. They don't have laws against it, so even though there's something's going on, it's not a crime. So they wrote the bill. I sponsored it for them, but I do have bills. But it's like, okay, there's no point in doing it this year. Let's just be on the defense, and it's frustrating. So we're on the defense this year. I want a bill that prohibits local government from having contracts with ICE.
Hopefully. We can get
Okay,
rid of them.
so a law just got passed in New Mexico.
Yes.
So I have that, and I'm friends with the state representative, one of the sponsors. But even in New Mexico, where they have blue everything, it took them 10 years to pass that.
Yeah.
And so here I have it, and then we can't do this because bill should have been filed in September.
Yeah.
There was an effort from our side to suspend the rules so that the Democratic caucus can file a bill to stop what was going on in Merrimack. The suspension of the rules was voted down. They won't even let us file a bill. The rules are different in the Senate. I contacted the senator. Is there an appetite for this type of bill? Yes, there is. It's good to have that. Say, can you take this? Like, it has to be next year.
Wow, that's a tough one. Just as a little side, because we talk about bills, and I don't think I've ever asked this question to anybody, but do you read the bills? Do you read all the bills?
No.
Okay.
You can't possibly.
Right, because it's a lot. 1,000 bills. Like,
Right.
where would you find the time?
And even for my the election law committee, we have 52 bills this year. Before we either have 75 to 80 bills. So if so you okay. Now it's different that I don't have a corporate job. I had the full-time job.
Yeah, that's hard. A lot of
And-
people do too.
Yeah. And so right now the way that we get assigned this bill, and this is something that our ranking member is doing this year, then it's like, okay, so for this week I really only pay attention to this bill. Then I really go deep in it. We read the bills when before the testimonies and so forth and so on. You put in what you can. It's just like running for office. We don't all have the same amount of resources available to us.
Right.
Do what you can.
Absolutely. Well, I was just thinking because, you got that meme of Nancy Pelosi saying, I don't know, we got to pass it to find out what's in it, and so a lot of people think that politicians don't read bills,
like for people in the higher ups, they have staff
Yes.
to analyze it for you. Now, okay, the us lowly people, we now have AI to read stuff for us.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, we also recognize that AI hallucinates a lot.
A lot.
And so it's still your responsibility. But to the extent that they can do things for you, you have to take advantage of that. Like, it's easy to, let's say, hey, what RSA actually refers to this thing? Because, okay, do I use it like a glorified Google? Sure. But you can actually ask it deeper questions
Yep.
and more elaborate questions. That's more than when you Google something. So that is helpful. And so to me, it's like, oh my God, if I ever run for higher office, I would really need help.
Yeah,
Uh,
you'd have to have a
and,
staff.
and right now, for example, when I made a comment again about that testify.com, and I said, oh yeah, they said, send an email to yours. Like, I don't read emails. I have so much emails. It's like, oh, if it says bulk, I'm not reading that because that gets sent to a gajillion thing. Now, if it's specific to me, I might read it, and then it's like, oh, like, do you know how many emails we get when there's issue about the how the speed of the speedboats on Lake Winnipesaukee?
I have no idea.
We got a gajillion emails
Really?
about that. It's like, what do I care? So okay, then there's the net, the environmental groups. There's the do-gooder groups and whatever. Okay, let's pay attention to that. And actually, a lot of times, I do depend on groups like the Kent State Coalition to tell me what this means.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that, okay, we don't have staff, but we have a lot of good organizations that we can depend on.
Which is super good.
Absolutely.
That's helpful. It is a lot of work. I mean, I wasn't expecting you to say, yes, I read every bill. That would be
I don't even
insane.
read every email.
But it is nice to know that somebody's at least reading the bills that matter, right? Like somebody's going through some of it, and it's not just, yep, it's good to
No.
go.
And okay. So what we do is, so you have the committee work, right? And then you and different committees operate different. And but whenever so I don't know if other representatives talked about this or other people talk about this openly. So we do caucus. We caucus the day before on Zoom.
Yep.
We caucus the day of, right before we go. We go through bills. These are the bills that are coming up for a vote, and then we discuss what we're leaning towards and all of that. Usually, there's a recommended vote. Do we all vote the recommended vote? Absolutely not.
Right.
But there is a recommended vote, and sometimes, like, for example, okay, the Democratic House Caucus, this is the recommendation, but the Progressive House Caucus think differently. Okay, but here's the thing, and this is why I am so proud to be part of the House Democratic Caucus. We discussed all of this, but they kept hammering on us. Your vote should be based on considerations in this order.
Wow. Very
Your
specific.
constituents,
Yep.
your conscience, and your caucus in that order.
I think that's a good pathway, right? Constituents should always
Absolutely.
be number one.
Absolutely.
And yeah,
And so this thing about voting on party lines, and that's what I wonder, those Republicans who vote the way they vote, do they actually feel that way?
I don't believe so. I honestly don't believe
and see,
that.
that's the thing. So for us, your caucus is the last consideration. It's the bottom.
Yes, but for them, it's number one.
Yeah, they get punished.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no way some of those things that get passed that anybody would go home and be like, yeah, that's what I believe in. Because some of the things that they do put out are insane. Like right now they're doing the 20-week or is it 20-week abortion, the EFAs. Like I could name, there's so many bad things that are coming our way, and it's nonstop.
Yeah, and I really, really,
Yeah, I hope that we get out of that. You know,
and I will always say that as a state representative, and even if like every politician,
yeah,
they have one job. As a state representative, my one job is to make the lives of hardworking Granite Staters better.
yeah,
Job.
one job, and so many people fail at that one job. It's hard to find good representation to send to Concord.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't or they don't want to do the work here. And I understand because we don't pay our legislators. We don't. New Hampshire is just an interesting place. It's not like other states. You know, we have a volunteer legislature. We we don't have a lot of people here. A lot of people are busy working in Boston. They don't pay attention necessarily. Our media is controlled by Republicans. Uh, we are definitely pushing a boulder up a hill.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's more like, so for me where I am right now, your life goals change as you move through life.
Absolutely.
And like, oh my God, when you're in elementary school, I just want to graduate and go to the high school that I want to go to. You graduate, I want to go to college. Yeah, I want to get the job. And okay, I spent 32 years in my career. I needed to make money because I'm raising a family. We want a good home, a good life. Things like, oh, we're not worrying where the next meal is coming from. We're not even worrying about, okay, oh my God, we want to go on vacation. No, we have to save up for that.
Yeah.
These are all, and now it's really, and so I have to say that there were there were a long period in my life that the goal is to make money. Absolutely, did I make money? Yes, I did. But now, it's not that. The goal has changed. It's impact. Okay, I'm $100 a year. So what?
Yeah.
But am I making a positive impact to the lives of a lot of people?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I've been asking this question to a lot of people. But you're directly affected because you're there. John Kuiper filed a lawsuit in October 2025 to get our legislators paid a living wage. Do you support that? Are you against it? Where do you sit?
Okay. I can't respond directly. However, I can tell you one of the bills that I've had in my head since I became a legislator, and the bill is, thinking about myself and other people such as myself, like, do we need to be represented by people who are actually in the workforce? Absolutely, because we can't just have, right now the legislature's average age is 67, uh over 60% male, and they're either independently wealthy or retired, and then they're the young kids. um and then you represent what you know.
Yeah.
And so when you think about those older men, you remember last year when we were voting on the marrying age, and then there's an old guy who said, oh yeah, you have to marry the girls early because that's
Ripe
when
and
they're young
fertile.
and fertile. Like, holy crap, but that's what he knows.
What was his name? Dennis
Yeah.
something?
But so right now, do I feel like there's just to be working people in the workforce? Yeah. Okay. What was stopping? What was hard for me is that I have 20 some odd vacation days, PTOs, and then I will use it. Okay, I have to do committee work. I have to do um session, and you can't get in and out. So I have enough flexibility from my employer where, okay, I work here and there, and I can do that. But not a lot of people can do that. But you know what I had to give up? When I ran, I was like, okay, that's it for vacations. I don't take vacations.
Wow.
So that's what I have to give up, because whatever 20 days I have, that's barely enough.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I did run out last year. That's barely enough. But you know what? Okay, how about let's have 2 weeks paid vacation based on civic service, because
Oh,
every employer, I believe, is federally required to give 2 weeks paid time off for military service.
I did not know that. Oh, well, yes, you're referring to the 2 weeks a year for reserve and National Guard. Okay,
Right,
yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's military service. It's
Yes.
National Guard.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, they can't fire you. They can't.
right.
Yeah.
So can we have that for civic service? And I even, in my head, I have two versions of this bill. One is every employer employing people in New Hampshire are required to provide paid time off for civic service. It it could be like, I'm volunteering at the my polling place during election. That's 1 day
Yeah.
or 2 days, and then you can charge it to that. Okay, that's just 2 days, but you're provided 2 weeks. You can't do it in a partisan thing. You can't do, I'm doing this for Dover Dams. No,
Yeah.
no, you can't. But you can use that to do those type of service. You can do that. You can use that as a state representative. So would it help me? Would I be using it? No, maybe it'll give me a week time off, an actual week time off to recharge. So that's one version, is just a full thing. Or the other version is, say, you always have the big version of the bill and a small version of the bill. And a smaller version of the bill would be, if you live in New Hampshire, for any employer employing people in New Hampshire, you are signing off to letting your employees to charge to the military service their civic service, because the 2 week military service, it's already there. You're just allowing them to charge it to that. Now, why the reason that I thought of it this way is because in New Jersey, okay, different state. In New Jersey, um, if you have a child in school and you have to attend pageants
Yeah.
or parent-teacher conference, people in New Jersey are allowed, wherever company they're working for, are allowed to charge that to sick days.
I mean, that sounds fair. I wouldn't mind having
Now,
something like that
now
here.
my bill, what it'll help is, it'll help more people like me who have full-time jobs. It alleviates some of the pressure.
Yeah.
And so if it alleviates some of the pressure, then there'll be more people in the working class who will actually go and run for office, because we need people who have actual jobs so that they can represent the people who have actual jobs.
Yeah, most of New Hampshire is not being represented by people that are
Right.
in those situations. I fully agree with you. I'm lucky enough to live in a town that is.
Yep.
I know that my representatives all have work and they're busy and doing their thing. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I hope that John Kuiper wins that particular lawsuit so we can get, more people that wouldn't normally be able to do it.
I heard that there's always a bill about paying it in gold, because when the law of getting paid $100 a year, during that time the currency is in gold, so pay us 100 gold coins,
Gold
which
coins,
is like
please.
what, $4,500?
Yeah, that would be one coin right now.
Yeah. And so that's a thing. But to me, those bills are always, oh, it's the same as the secession bill. There's always a secession bill. So okay. So when it goes through that, there are a lot of crazy bills. But no, I think, will it be good? It'll be it'll be very different.
Yeah.
Like our neighboring state of Massachusetts, I think the average salary of their state representatives is $180,000.
Yeah, it's substantial.
And so you would think that, okay, I'm only saying this because I know someone who did this. Okay, you're a practicing lawyer making this kind of money. You're a good lawyer providing your service to labor. You're a labor lawyer. You're a union lawyer or something. And hey, you're gonna be good at the thing because you already know. Now to run for that office, you have to quit your job. Okay, now so you quit your job. Now you're not making money with the expectation that if you win, you make this money. You make that up. Okay, is that, and I don't know the answer to this. Is that a better situation where, okay, I really want to do a good job for New Hampshire. I know I'm not gonna make money. I'm gonna make impact, but this is really what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think it's always good to have support. So for example, state representatives in New Mexico do not get anything, but they have I believe they have per diem.
They have their per diem is $202 per day, but yes, they do not pay their legislature.
Right. And so $202 per day, I would imagine that includes their hotels and their
More
food.
than likely, yeah.
Now food, when I had my corporate job, we have $100 for food a day. Well, good luck on that.
And New Mexico is not that cheap. I lived there for 2 years with my family, so I definitely experienced
Yep.
the Albuquerque.
My daughter lives in Las Cruces. It's much cheaper.
Yes, that is a little bit
but-
cheaper. It's still a beautiful place, though.
Yeah, but so I don't know about the payment. Like the state representatives and the senators, they get paid the same, and I feel like the senators have more work because there are only 24 of them.
Yeah, that's true.
And they really have to read all of them because you can't read 100 more representatives to actually read the bills. I think they have as many bills as we have, but then they're only I don't know how many bills they have, but yeah. And then our executive counselors get paid $18,000 a year. They actually read contracts.
Yeah, and some people have even said that the executive council is more important than the governor, and they're only getting paid 18,000. I think our governorship only gets paid like 65,000.
Yeah, actually, when somebody asked me, this was a while back, it was a joke. It was like, so are you gonna run for governor? Like, I don't. That's a big percentage of pay cut.
Yeah, that's a big one. I always joke that I'd run for governor, but I would not want to. I would not because of the money, just because it's an insane position for anybody to really have. I mean, I don't think I could do it.
But then any elected job is a thankless job.
Yeah, but the governorship is one person, and that one person has to be literally everywhere. That is a lot of responsibility for one position.
Sure.
Anybody that wants to run for it, my hats are off for them. I got
New Hampshire is really weird. I was just looking at yesterday at the districts, the executive council districts. Here's Rockingham County, here's this county, and then all these little things, and then District 2, Karen Lee Hill's position. It's like it's the gerrymandered Democratic district. It's like, and then it goes like that, and then CD1 is starting from Dover or Durham all the way up, like the land area.
When I saw Emmett's map that he had to go canvas, I thought to myself, that's awful. And people don't understand how messed up that district is.
It's like it's a barrier for running for that seat.
A lot of our districts are. District 18 is a huge barrier. Yeah, it's Mike Harrington's seat. That's across 4 or 5 towns. Like it's our districts are a nightmare here in New Hampshire. I wouldn't want to be.
So now there's of course a bill on bipartisan commission for redistricting, that Democrats file year after year after year of some version or another, and it's getting voted down. Okay, when we have the majority, will we put it up again? Heavens, yeah. Now, would we have forgotten how badly we have been treated by Republicans to the point that we were actually be bipartisan? I don't know.
I would hope not. Honestly, I don't. I firmly don't believe that the other side that we currently have deserves any kind of. I don't know the word I want to use there, so I'll just leave it at that. But
any kind of consideration.
I've had so much fun doing this with you, and I know it's getting like super long in the episode. I want to give you the last word. Like, where can people find you? Do you need people to help with the campaign? Do you have information that people can access so they know what you're up to? Or anything else you want to talk about? I'll give it to you. No, you don't have to look at any cameras, I promise.
No. So, the campaign, right now, I'm actually, trying to start, have a slow start, long runway. That's why I'm posting more on my social media. Well, specifically, I'm posting more on TikTok and actually discussing the bills that I'm working on. Which is great. I think it's something that people should be doing, but that's part of what I started already. I have contacted someone already to work on my website, because I have a professional do it instead of I did my own website.
That's hard to do. Yeah.
I did because it was fun. And then I'm gathering together the list of donors, including the people who found my Act Blue account when they saw me go viral on the internet.
Oh, that's helpful.
That was awesome. So yeah, right now, yes, I'm planning to run. And I maybe this time I can actually show up to register, because for the past 2 terms I'm always out of town when Jan wants us to register together in person, so I always just give him my $2. And so yeah, and I'm certainly going to provide as much information as I can, but consistent with the kind of voter I am. Like I've told you, I'm more like, okay, is this person gonna make the right decision? I would really, as far as campaigning, I wanna sell myself and let people get to know me, as opposed to what policies have I voted on, voted for or against, or what policies am I gonna push for or fight against. Certainly that's there, but you can also find it you can look at it in Ballotpedia and all of that. But like, even if I'm gonna redo the website, I'm still going to make it so that when they go to my website, they see me. Because one of the things that I noticed, like, campaign website, there's nothing except, you want to reach us, fill this form, and this is how you donate. It's like, and these are all the policies that they're working on, and some of them are bogus. Some of them are like, oh yeah, we just copied from Bernie Sanders' platform and put it in there. And so to me, even if I'm gonna have a professional do my website, I'm still gonna make it the point, have this website as a way of getting to know me and find me, maybe not physically, but spiritually, not in that religious sense, but where I'm coming from. Because that's the only time that you're like, where a person came from, life experiences and all of that is really how you'll be able to generally predict on what that person is going to be doing in the future.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's not gonna be a different campaign. Even when I did before, it's basically just, hey, I'm Luz Bay. I'm running. I'm your neighbor. I'm running for office. Don't want to bother you too much. I know you're making dinner for your family, but here's my card. Please look me up.
Yeah.
And that's it. Which was really um so rewarding when I said, and if you like what you see, vote for me, and if you really like what you see, can you please contact me so I can put a sign on your yard? And they did contact me. People contact me and emailed me and said, hey, come back and put a sign on my yard. I don't know these people. They don't know me. And things like when I ran for the first time, I think it's in the primary, and I was at the school somewhere. I think it's in Ward 3, and it's like, oh, you're Luz Bay? I said, yeah. It's like, oh, we just moved here. We're really not planning to vote in the primaries because we just moved, but we saw your sign. It has your website, and here we are voting. This is the kind of impact that I want to have.
Yeah.
And so to that extent, even if it's like, okay, you might not vote for me, but it made you more engaged. Hey,
A lot of what you said is why I do this. I purposely didn't ask you bill numbers, and I they can find that on
yep.
Ballotpedia, but I have you in front of me for you and anybody else that comes over, but I have you for a short period of time. And I think diving into somebody, to understand what makes them tick, to have that deeper conversation, it makes a difference. It energizes people. I know I said give you the last word, but I'm glad that you said what you did, because getting to know somebody and understanding like why they make the decisions they make, what childhood or young adult things happen, it helps define a person and what they're capable of. And so that's why I do it the way I do it here, because I hope in your case, somebody this summer is going to be laying on their couch at 9 p.m. and they're going to be flipping through YouTube and they're going to be like, wait, I know this name, and they're going to watch this. And then they may not have thought about voting for you,
Yep.
but they're going to show up because they love your story. Anyway. I just want to say thank you so much for doing this. And I do hope that we can do this again in the future. I'm not just saying that, I promise. I love having the conversation, and, I think people are going to get something out of this. So thank you again. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll do it again soon.
All right. Sounds good.